The man was once a legendary martial arts supreme, known throughout the martial world. Back then, he had a beautiful wife and an adorable daughter by his side. He believed this happy life would last forever. But one day, his wife died from an unknown illness. Even his only daughter lost her life in a fire caused by a brutal martial world conflict. From that moment on, the man's only purpose in life was to avenge his family. Using every method possible, he eliminated the corrupt fighters from both the righteous and demonic factions. This massacre became known throughout the martial world as the Blood Disaster, and the man became known as the Blood Demon, a man who had abandoned the ideals of martial justice. Soon after, the strongest fighters from various sects joined forces to hunt down the Blood Demon. 9 major sects gathered together, with the Wudong sect and Ma sect leading the charge. Their final battle was set to take place at the legendary peak of the Himalayas. At the same time, countless martial artists gathered there, waiting to witness the outcome. Even the respected monk, Daehui from Shaolin Temple arrived personally, proving they had made thorough preparations. Although they claimed their goal was to stop the Blood Demon and protect the world, their true intention was to obtain his incredible martial arts. What a shame. It seemed the Blood Demon would not survive this day. One of the onlookers couldn't understand. Isn't it only natural for a murderer like him to get what he deserves? But the truth was different. The Rakshasa Witch and the black-faced Asura both died by the Blood Demon's hand. At first, he only killed notorious villains from the demonic side. It was only later that the Blood Demon wiped out an entire righteous sword sect overnight, causing the world to turn against him. So, does the Blood Demon truly deserve to die? Think about it. Just because these people belonged to the righteous side didn't mean their hearts were truly righteous. What a tragedy. Is a true hero really going to fall here? Meanwhile, the Shaolin Abbot had already surrounded the Blood Demon with powerful fighters from every sect. The abbot couldn't understand why a successor of the martial god's legacy would create such a terrifying bloodbath. Facing the abbot's question, the Blood Demon calmly replied, "I am only doing what needs to be done. What crime did an innocent child ever commit? You are the ones who should pay with your lives. All of you must pay the price for your sins." As soon as he finished speaking, the Sword Emperor eagerly drew his blade and prepared to kill the Blood Demon. But the others stopped him. If we kill him now, the martial god's techniques will disappear forever. Even at this moment, these people were still only interested in obtaining the Blood Demon's martial arts. Their arrogant words disgusted the Blood Demon. In the end, they only cared about their own interests. Since that was the case, the Blood Demon decided to stop showing mercy. No one standing there would be spared. While they were talking, the Blood Demon had already moved into the center of the crowd. At that moment, the Sword Emperor immediately detected his location. However, the Blood Demon was not targeting him. In the blink of an eye, the Blood Demon moved through the crowd and cut down 2 martial arts experts. His terrifying speed left them no chance to react. Judging by the expressions of the Sword Emperor and the others, the Blood Demon knew they had never truly witnessed his strength. Humiliated by this, the Sword Emperor and another top expert became furious and attacked him together. But the Blood Demon simply stood there calmly. Then, he slowly took a deep breath. With only a simple motion of drawing his blade, he unleashed power that seemed to contain endless inner strength. In that moment, the 2 experts finally realized they were completely outmatched by the Blood Demon. But it was already too late. With nothing more than a simple sword-drawing slash, the Blood Demon severely injured the 2 top martial artists. At this moment, the Sword Emperor was completely shocked. Could this be the divine technique of the martial god? How can he defend against both of our combined attacks at the same time? Just then, the Blood Demon sensed someone rapidly approaching from behind. A white-haired young man suddenly appeared, holding a long spear and launching a surprise attack on the Blood Demon. But such a simple trick was completely useless against him. However, what the Blood Demon never expected was this. After his first attack failed, the white-haired man immediately followed up with a reverse spear strike. The Blood Demon raised his sword in time to block, but the blade was instantly shattered. After the spear struck the Blood Demon's shoulder, the white-haired man quietly muttered a secret incantation. In the next moment, he infused the spear with the power of thunder, piercing straight through the Blood Demon's right abdomen. By the time the Blood Demon tried to respond, it was already too late. The white-haired man looked confused. "Blood Demon, you seem exhausted. Your inner energy is almost gone. Tell us where the martial god's secret manual is hidden, and we will spare your life." He was right. Before this battle, the Blood Demon had already consumed too much inner energy. Then, the Blood Demon picked up the broken sword from earlier and slowly ran his fingers across the blade. But forcing him to surrender here was something he would never accept. In an instant, a new blade materialized, forged entirely from his life's accumulated inner energy. At this moment, the surrounding experts were amazed by the blood demon's overwhelming power, but they also realized he intended to die together with everyone here. That was why they had to stop him before he completed the technique. But it was already too late. The moment the energy sword appeared, the blood demon's technique had already been completed. In the next second, the explosive force of the blood demon's entire inner energy collided with theirs. Now, the blood demon had completely lost his ability to fight back. All he could do was watch helplessly as he fell into the endless abyss below. If I had just one more year, perhaps I could have done it. In this life, I failed my wife and my daughter. Just as the blood demon thought everything was over, the figure appearing before him carried an unexpectedly warm touch. Then, the daughter who had already died appeared right in front of him. Before the blood demon could react, a familiar voice reached his ears. He turned toward the source of the voice. The person standing before him was his wife, who had already passed away. At that moment, the blood demon was completely stunned. Was all of this just a vision before his death? Or had he truly returned to the time before his wife and daughter died? Before he realized it, 7 days had passed, yet the blood demon still couldn't believe what had happened. His wife and daughter were standing alive, right in front of him. He had already died once, yet somehow he had returned to the past, alive. However, since all of this was real, the future would most likely unfold the same way it did before. This brief moment of peace would not last forever. This time, the blood demon swore he would never let the same tragedy happen again. If he wanted to change everything, the blood demon first had to accomplish one thing. After that, the blood demon told his wife that he would be leaving temporarily for half a month. Although she had no idea what he was going to do, she still prepared enough food for his journey. At that moment, his daughter asked if she could go with him. The blood demon could only gently pat her head. I have something urgent to take care of, so wait patiently for me. I'll bring you a sweet treat when I get back. Seeing his daughter's adorable smile, the blood demon became even more determined. In this life, he would never lose another member of his family. After returning through reincarnation, the only thing the blood demon brought back was his soul. The power he once possessed as the blood demon had completely disappeared. To protect his family, he needed a strength that nothing in this world could shake. After arriving at a hidden cliff, the blood demon began searching the area. Eventually, he successfully found the hidden tunnel. Why was someone like me, once just an ordinary scholar and a simple student, known as the blood demon? In a martial world filled with countless experts, the reason I was able to create such a bloodbath, it was all because of the remains of this mysterious old man. He was the greatest martial god in history, and in my previous life, I was the only person who found him. Back then, the blood demon had been pushed into a desperate situation by a war between martial factions. By a twist of fate, he escaped by crawling into this narrow cave. After losing his daughter, the blood demon searched for every clue related to the people who burned down his village. Although he found the true culprits, his strength at the time was not enough to do anything against them. During his escape, the blood demon discovered this place and managed to survive. But this time, he didn't know whether the same thing would happen again. When the blood demon approached the old man's remains, a powerful wave of inner energy suddenly appeared in the old man's palm. Then, that energy condensed into a golden inner core, containing unimaginable power. The same thing had happened in his previous life, as if the old man had been waiting all along, waiting for someone worthy enough to inherit his divine martial arts. The legendary techniques and inner energy of the martial god were all sealed inside this inner core. The blood demon then held the inner core in his hand. The inner core seemed to resonate with him, releasing an overwhelming amount of inner energy. Soon after, its power slowly began merging into his body. At that moment, all the blood demon could feel was unbearable pain. He had endured the same suffering in his previous life, and this time, he had to survive it again. In a daze, a scene filled with bloodshed suddenly flashed through the blood demon's mind. A white-haired man was kneeling before someone. Even as death approached, the white-haired man's smile remained twisted and terrifying. Don't think this is the end. Darkness will return once again. The moment he finished speaking, the white-haired man was beheaded by his opponent. In the next instant, the blood demon suddenly opened his eyes. He had no idea how long he had been unconscious, nor did he understand what that vision really meant. Was it only a dream? Even in his previous life when he absorbed the inner core, he had never witnessed anything like this. Perhaps it was the memory left behind by the martial god. After returning to the past, it seemed that the future was no longer guaranteed to follow the same path. However, the blood demon successfully absorbed the martial god's inner energy and completed a reconstruction of his body. In his previous life, the blood demon had only reached the second stage of heavenly god martial arts. Yet even with that level of power, the world already called him the blood demon. But this time, everything had to change, because this was his only chance to alter the future. Looking down, the blood demon finally noticed how dirty his body had become. To avoid worrying his wife, he decided to change clothes before returning home. After finishing everything, the blood demon bowed respectfully toward the old man's remains. "Thank you for giving me the power to protect my family. If I ever have the chance to repay you, I will do everything in my power." Then, after the blood demon left the hidden cave, the entrance suddenly collapsed, leaving no trace behind. Now it's time to go home. The blood demon immediately leaped into the air. At that moment, he felt his body was several times lighter than before. Having mastered movement techniques, the blood demon only needed a few steps to leave the forest. After checking the date, the blood demon realized he had already exceeded his promised half-month of absence by 2 days. He needed to hurry back. Meanwhile, the village remained peaceful. His wife was taking their daughter to buy his favorite candied hawthorns. Seeing how adorable and well-behaved the girl was, an old woman gave her a free skewer. Then, she asked the blood demon's wife, "When will the child's father return? I heard those people are coming soon. Those bastards who collect protection fees. If the fees aren't paid, the villagers will inevitably suffer a brutal beating. That's why everyone is forced to agree to their unreasonable demands every time they appear." Although they called it a protection fee, the truth was that they were the only ones threatening the villagers. But what they didn't know was that every move these 3 men made had already been seen by the blood demon. When the sun was about to set, that was when the blood demon decided to act. At that moment, they were still discussing whether to capture young women and sell them as slaves for money. Without them realizing it, the blood demon had already silently appeared in front of them. "I will give you only one chance. Return all the money you took and apologize to the villagers." Hearing his threat, the men completely ignored him and stepped forward to provoke him. "A scholar like you wants to play the hero?" Before the words even left his mouth, the blood demon's fist had already slammed into his face. One single punch was enough to knock the man unconscious. If the blood demon hadn't held back his strength, that attack would have killed him instantly. Seeing this, another man immediately drew his blade and attacked the blood demon. When he charged above him, the blood demon still stood completely motionless. His fist was already prepared and waiting. In the next moment, he struck directly toward the man's neck. Against ordinary people like them, the blood demon didn't need to use any effort at all. After dealing with the group, the blood demon slowly walked toward the only remaining leader. "Now, only you are left. Do you still want to continue this meaningless struggle?" Under the blood demon's command, the remaining leader returned the stolen money to the village and begged the village chief for forgiveness. Seeing his terrified and panicked expression, the villagers had no idea what had happened. "I did everything you ordered me to do. Now, can you let me go? Are you planning to go somewhere else and continue harming people?" "Absolutely not, my lord. I have decided to change my ways and live a peaceful life." "Is that so? Tell me, do you really believe someone can change? For example, someone like you, a piece of trash who escaped from a heretical faction. How do you know that?" "Of course I know, and I also know who all of you are. In my previous life, they repeatedly attacked Sodam village and robbed its people. Eventually, they joined nearby bandits and sold every elderly person, woman, and child into slavery. Months later, the Murim Alliance discovered their crimes and ended their atrocities. But by then, the peace of Sodam village had already been destroyed. That is why you must pay for the crimes you committed. This is my answer. Some people will never change, no matter what happens. From the very beginning, I never planned to let you live." Not long after, his daughter was playing outside their home, happily playing with the grass. The moment she saw her father return, she immediately rushed into the blood demon's arms and told him how much she had missed him. Hearing the noise, his wife also came outside and asked, "Why did you come back so late? But it looks like you weren't injured." The blood demon gently replied, "I'm sorry for making you worry. It just took a little longer than expected, but I have finished what I needed to do." His wife finally let out a sigh of relief. "That's a relief. I thought you had gotten into a fight with those troublemakers." At this moment, his wife seemed to notice something unusual about the blood demon. "Dear, compared to when you left, why has your skin become so smooth and delicate?" And you look taller now. Your shoulders have also become much broader. Although the blood demon could control his inner energy, hiding the changes in his body was simply too difficult. His wife then released her hand from his cheek. She began questioning what he had actually been doing while he was away. Faced with the question, the blood demon couldn't think of a proper explanation in that moment. Seeing that her angry expression had actually frightened him, his wife immediately burst into laughter. Then she seriously asked, "Have you eaten today?" Although his wife knew he was hiding something, she believed he must have his own reasons for doing so. The moment his wife turned around, the blood demon suddenly sensed something was wrong. His gaze fell on her hands. A faint dark color could be seen around her fingernails. Could his wife already have been poisoned? That night, the blood demon struggled to calm down for a long time. Looking at her condition, everything from his previous life came rushing back into his mind. His wife in his previous life must have suffered unimaginable pain as well. But this time, the blood demon had the power to prevent the same tragedy from happening again. As he released his inner energy, the blood demon quickly confirmed that his wife had been poisoned. The first thing he needed to do was trace the path of the poisonous energy. Just as he expected, most of the poisonous energy had gathered in her core. Although he didn't know when the poison was planted, he had to remove it immediately. However, he had to be extremely careful not to damage her meridians. After several hours of treatment, the blood demon successfully removed the poisonous energy from her body. The moment all the poison was extracted, he confirmed that it was a deadly toxin. This poison would cause prolonged suffering before the victim died, something that never happened in his previous life. While thinking about it, the blood demon suddenly realized something. Was there something he had overlooked back then? Ordinary village doctors would never have been able to identify this poison. If that was true, then his wife's death was never caused by an unknown illness. She had been poisoned by someone. Although she had left her family behind to live a normal life, his wife was still a member of the Pen clan. She had trained in martial arts and inner energy since childhood, meaning only a top-level expert could have poisoned her. No matter what, the blood demon would search the entire continent and eliminate everyone responsible. "Dear, my daughter and I are going to the market. I will come back and make dinner later." Since the enemy's plan had failed, they would most likely begin their next move. Before that, the blood demon had to remain extremely careful. Meanwhile, outside the village, a man was secretly hiding behind a tree. Strange. The traces of poison have disappeared. Could there have been something wrong with my poison? Regardless, I already handled everything properly this time. There shouldn't be any problems. Nothing can be allowed to interfere with that person's plan. Just as the man was about to escape, the blood demon was already standing silently behind him. The man had no idea that the blood demon had been watching him the entire time. "So you are the one behind this. I only have one question. Was this your own decision, or did someone order you to poison my wife? So you're that woman's husband. Since she is going to die soon, I'll tell you the truth. Your wife was the one who betrayed him first." After saying that, the man pulled out hidden weapons and launched a surprise attack. However, the blood demon only flicked his fingers, instantly shattering the two blades. Then, while the man was still shocked, the blood demon punched him directly in the face. The terrifying impact blasted through him and shattered two trees behind him. "Now I will ask you one last time. Who is the person behind this?" Under the blood demon's overwhelming pressure, the man tremblingly revealed the mastermind. It was Dang Go Hui, the young master of the Sichuan Tang clan. The Sichuan Tang clan was famous throughout the martial world for its hidden weapons and poison techniques. The current Tang clan young master, Dang Go Hui, had fallen in love with a young woman from the Pen clan at first sight. However, when Dang Go Hui proposed marriage, the woman from the Peng clan fled the family overnight and chose to be with a scholar. The following year, she gave birth to a sweet and adorable daughter with that scholar. The reason she made that choice was because the Pen clan would never accept a powerless scholar with no background. From the poison user's words, the blood demon finally learned the truth. If his wife's escape happened around the same time as Dang Go Hui's proposal, then Dang Go Hui must have believed the blood demon destroyed his marriage. But even so, why did Dang Go Hui choose to poison his wife? Sensing the blood demon's anger, the man hurriedly said, "I've told you everything. Now let me go. If you kill me, you will become an enemy of the entire Tang clan." There is a saying in the martial world: the Tang clan never forgets a debt, whether it is gratitude or revenge. "And I will never forget the debt your clan owes me," the blood demon replied. The blood demon then placed his palm directly against the man's forehead. "Now, let me settle this matter completely. This is a debt your Tang clan owes me, and you will repay it 100 times over." In the next moment, the blood demon's inner energy surged violently through his palm. In an instant, the man's head could not withstand the force and exploded. Next, it's time to pay a visit to the Sichuan Tang clan. Meanwhile, inside the Orchid Tower in Sichuan, Deng Gohui, the young master of the Tang clan, was happily drinking with several servants. It was the first time the servants had seen him this happy, so they asked what had happened. For a long time, I have loved a single flower. That feeling lasted for many years. I wanted to possess her more than anything, because I wondered if I kept that beautiful flower beside me and slowly crushed her beneath my feet. What kind of expression would she make? And what would I feel at that moment? Although I never obtained her in the end, it seems my wish will come true in another way. I finally found the woman who disappeared to escape from me. So don't you think she deserves to suffer a little? So, without anyone knowing, I created a plan and slowly suffocated her to death. As he spoke, Deng Gohui suddenly wrapped his arm around the servant's neck. Die slowly like this. Tell me, what does that pain feel like? At that moment, a voice came from outside the door. Young master, you seem a little restless, but you are certainly enjoying yourself. Seeing them arrive, Deng Gohui immediately stepped forward respectfully and greeted them as senior black and white demons. At such a joyful occasion, we should raise our cups and celebrate together. I prepared the finest wine, especially for both seniors. Let us discuss the future of the Tang clan. Although Deng Gohui appeared extremely respectful, he actually looked down on the black and white demons. In his eyes, they were nothing more than puppets who would do any dirty work for money. However, they were still very useful to him, because he needed more money to strengthen his position within the Tang clan. Not long ago, Deng Gohui ignored his younger brother's objections and decisively left the family. He had already grown tired of his brother looking down on his judgment. Facing his brother's anger, the younger brother clearly didn't understand the reason. Deng Mokjun was the greatest genius ever born in the Sichuan Tang clan. He was not only the Poison King, but also the chairman of the Tang clan Elder Council and the father of the current clan leader. The entire family placed its hopes on him. Ever since their father went into seclusion 2 years ago, that fool acted as if the Tang clan already belonged to him. But now, none of that mattered. With these people's help, Deng Gohui could naturally take the position of Tang clan leader. Just thinking about it made Deng Gohui laugh in excitement. Suddenly, an explosion outside the entrance shattered the peaceful atmosphere. A powerful shockwave sent one of the servants flying into a table. Everyone was confused by what they saw. Without a doubt, an uninvited guest had arrived. Who are you? What is your purpose here? Deng Gohui demanded. At that moment, the blood demon appeared before Deng Gohui, wearing an outfit that concealed his face. Before coming here, I expected you to be useless, but I never thought you would be this pathetic. From the sound of it, you know who I am? Deng Gohui asked. Of course. You are the only stain on the Sichuan Tang clan. Hearing this, the black and white demons burst into laughter. You clearly hold a grudge against our young master, but you chose the wrong day. Then, the white-haired elder patted Deng Gohui's shoulder. Since we are partners, leave this to us. Kid, if you beg for mercy now, we might spare your life. Don't be so confident. I refuse. I don't know where you got your courage from. Since you insist, let the black and white demons send you to your death. As they spoke, the two men swung their massive iron hammers. We will break every bone in your body. Then the black and white demons kicked their hammers toward the blood demon. The two giant hammers flew straight toward him with terrifying force. But when the weapons came crashing down, the blood demon had already disappeared. Their expressions changed instantly. Even they could no longer underestimate his strength. While the two men were stunned, the blood demon stepped onto the roof beam and jumped down. Then he grabbed the black demon's head tightly. In the next moment, his powerful inner energy exploded, instantly crushing Blackhair's head. Seeing this scene, the white-haired elder froze in place. His brother-in-arms had been killed with a single strike, leaving him unable to believe what happened. It seems even beasts can mourn the death of their blood relatives, the blood demon said coldly. You actually dared to kill my brother, the white-haired elder roared. The next moment, the white-haired elder swung the chains in both hands and infused them with his inner energy. I will make you repay this debt with your own flesh and blood. Even though the white-haired elder attacked with all his strength, the blood demon easily dodged every strike. In the blood demon's eyes, these hammer attacks were nothing more than child's play. He could even close his eyes and avoid them purely by instinct. Seeing how effortlessly he was being humiliated, the white-haired elder became furious. This scene of the blood demon toying with the white demon was witnessed by Dang Go-hui, someone capable of standing above the black and white demons so easily. Just how terrifying was his strength. At that moment, Dang Go-hui had only one thought: escape as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, the blood demon, having grown bored, grabbed the white-haired elder's hammer with one hand. No matter how hard the white-haired elder pulled, the weapon could not escape the blood demon's grip. Even after releasing all of his inner energy, he still couldn't break free. After taking the elder's weapon, the blood demon even began swinging it the same way the elder did. For crimes that trampled on other people's lives, the blood demon would never show mercy. This is why you are going to die. In the next instant, the hammer swung by the blood demon smashed directly into the white-haired elder's face. The overwhelming force gave him the same fate as his brother. Since the two greatest threats had already been eliminated, the next target was Dang Go-hui. Dang Go-hui couldn't understand what had just happened. This man had played with the demons' heads as if they were toys and killed them both in an instant. This man was clearly an extraordinary expert. His strength might even rival that of Dang Go-hui's own father. How much are you being paid to come here? I don't know how much they offered you, but I can pay you twice that amount if you join me. What? Still not enough? Then I'll give you 3 times more. I am the person who should have killed you, the blood demon replied coldly. In my previous life, I watched my wife suffer and die from poison, and I was powerless to stop it. Are you insane? What kind of nonsense are you talking about? Dang Go-hui shouted. Wait, a wife who suffered and died because of poison? Don't tell me your wife was Pang Se-yun, and you are her husband? Impossible. Her husband was only an ordinary scholar, someone I could crush like an ant. Then why has this man caused such a massive disturbance? At that moment, the blood demon sensed movement coming from outside the door. A wave of noise followed, and Dang Go-hui's subordinates rushed into the room. They surrounded the blood demon and told Dang Go-hui to escape quickly. They would risk their lives to hold him back. In Dang Go-hui's eyes, their deaths meant nothing. As long as they bought him enough time to escape, that was all that mattered. Then, Dang Go-hui quietly reached into his sleeve and pulled out 2 poison pellets. Taking advantage of the blood demon not paying attention, he threw them toward the group. The moment the pellets exploded, a thick cloud of poison instantly covered everyone nearby. Soon, the reinforcements could no longer withstand the poison and collapsed to their knees. Dang Go-hui believed that no matter how powerful the blood demon was, he could never withstand the Tang clan's ultimate poison techniques. But the scene that followed left him completely stunned, because the blood demon was completely unaffected. Gathering his inner energy into his right hand, the blood demon casually waved once and easily dispersed the poisonous barrier. Then, with the same motion, he shattered the wall and forced the poisonous mist outside. Seeing this, Dang Go-hui was completely horrified. He knew the situation was hopeless, and he could barely remain standing. Now I will give Dang Go-hui the fate someone like him deserves. In his previous life, the black and white demons had been involved in human trafficking and drug trading. The blood demon knew their faces well, because he was the one who killed them himself back then. And the person who ordered those atrocities was none other than Dang Go-hui. Realizing he was about to die, Dang Go-hui fell to his knees and begged the blood demon for mercy. But the blood demon knew exactly how much hatred and malice this man had held toward his wife. He would never let Dang Go-hui go. The blood demon then sent his inner energy into Dang Go-hui's body. In an instant, Dang Go-hui's bones shifted out of place and his tendons were torn apart. As Dang Go-hui screamed in agony, countless hidden blades suddenly appeared behind him. But to the current blood demon, these attacks posed no threat at all. Clearly, another expert was hiding nearby. After appearing, the newcomer simply told the blood demon, "That's enough. No matter what happens, Dang Go-hui is still the eldest son of the Tang clan." With a flick of his wrist, he sent the fallen swords flying toward the blood demon once again. Just as the blood demon deflected the swords again, the man seized the opening and rushed toward him with a dagger. Facing the sudden attack, the blood demon immediately grabbed his wrist. Realizing his arm had been restrained, the man instantly extended 3 blades from his right hand. But it was already too late. The blood demon struck his chest with a palm strike. The overwhelming force sent the man flying backward. Yet even against such an attack, he calmly managed to block it. This man was Dang Mokjun, known as the greatest genius in the history of the Sichuan Tang clan. Even during the time when the blood demon hated martial artists, Dang Mokjun was someone he had no choice but to respect. Back when he was still the feared blood demon It was thanks to Dang Mokjun's generosity that he experienced the only peaceful period of his entire life. He never expected that they would meet again under such circumstances. At this moment, Dang Mokjun was also filled with doubts. This man had avoided every attack, almost without a scratch. And it seemed like he had been holding back the entire time. Was he deliberately playing with him? Although he couldn't defeat the blood demon, the battle had become even more interesting. With that thought, Dang Mokjun suddenly leapt into the air. A powerful green aura began surrounding his body. Then, he once again took control of the remaining flying swords on the ground. Clearly, this attack was far stronger than before. Yet the blood demon still dispelled it with ease. Just as the blood demon expected, Dang Mokjun seized the opportunity and launched another sneak attack from behind. But the blood demon only turned his head slightly and easily avoided it. The moment he turned, Dang Mokjun followed up with a sweeping kick. Seeing that he still couldn't land a single hit, Dang Mokjun finally confirmed his suspicion. The gap between their strengths was simply too great. The blood demon had never attacked him seriously. He had been toying with him the entire time. Then, Dang Mokjun poured all of his anger into his ultimate technique. At that moment, the blood demon decided it was time to end the battle. In an instant, the blood demon grabbed the handle of a flying sword. Before Dang Mokjun could react, the blood demon appeared behind him and placed a dagger against his neck. My body can't move at all. Is this really where my life ends? Just as Dang Mokjun prepared to accept death, the blood demon slowly moved the blade away. Why? Why aren't you finishing this? The blood demon dropped the dagger and said, "Now, we are even. My brother is already almost crippled. Are you really going to continue? After this, my family will investigate the truth behind everything. There is no reason to punish him any further." Fine, I understand your point. Except for one thing. I agree with everything else. Dang Gohui still has a chance to recover his martial abilities. Hearing this, Dang Mokjun immediately understood what the blood demon intended to do. In the next moment, the blood demon struck Dang Gohui's core with his palm. As his golden inner energy surged inside, Dang Gohui's core shattered instantly. From this day forward, he would become a cripple and never walk the path of a martial artist again. For Dang Gohui, this punishment was far more painful than death. Did you really have to go this far? Dang Mokjun asked. Of course. Do you think what I did was excessive? The blood demon replied. Then, answer me this. Your brother committed countless crimes, and you truly knew nothing about them. You only pretended to stop him, but you never truly opposed him. To me, you were nothing more than a bystander, living the rest of his life as a cripple because of his own sins. That is the price he must pay for his crimes. After saying that, the blood demon disappeared into the night. What kind of monster could possibly become my brother's enemy? In this life, I swear I will survive and protect my family. But even though his hands were stained with countless lives, danger had once again found its way to his wife. What must I do to truly keep them safe? That night, while his wife was asleep, the blood demon gently woke her up. Dear, can you come outside for a moment? There is something I need to tell you. His wife looked surprised. What happened? Saying something like this in the middle of the night is actually frightening me. The blood demon then gently held his wife's shoulders. Next, we are going back to the Hebei Peng clan. Hearing this, his wife became nervous. She believed her father still had not forgiven her for leaving the family without permission. The blood demon reassured her. Your father has always missed you. Because in his previous life, the blood demon had thought the exact same thing. Back then, his father-in-law strongly opposed their marriage. Because of that, his wife left the Peng clan with the blood demon. At the time, he believed her father would never forgive her. But shortly after his wife's death, her father suddenly appeared in Sodam village. Since he was known as the legendary Hebei swordsman, I once thought my father-in-law was a cold and emotionless man. Yet, he never expected that the man would tightly embrace his daughter's body and cry like a child. He then apologized to the blood demon, saying everything was his fault. If he had accepted their marriage back then, perhaps none of this would have happened. After that, he wanted the blood demon and his daughter to return to the Peng clan. He promised to take care of both of them with everything he had. However, the blood demon firmly rejected his offer at the time. Not long after, the village fire made him regret that decision more than anything. That was why, after returning to the past, the blood demon swore he would never make another choice he would regret. And now, they needed the protection of the Hebei Peng clan. But my father is probably still angry with us, his wife said worriedly. It's fine. I believe every parent only wants their children to be happy. I replied. And after returning to the Peng clan, I am confident I can make your father accept me as family. Early the next morning, when the blood demon opened his eyes, he found his wife and daughter standing in front of him, doing something he didn't understand. I can't remember the last time I slept this peacefully. Knowing they would soon return to Hebei, the blood demon's heart finally became calm. Since they were leaving soon, his wife used the food they couldn't bring with them to prepare a delicious breakfast. Watching his wife and daughter laugh happily together, the blood demon still had no idea what was happening. It wasn't until his wife pointed it out that he realized his daughter had drawn a beard on his face. Seeing him awkwardly wash it off, both mother and daughter burst into laughter. When the blood demon told the villagers they were leaving, everyone showed how unwilling they were to say goodbye. Before leaving, the blood demon had already dealt with all the nearby bandits, so the village would remain peaceful, even without his protection. After learning they were heading to Hebei, the villagers reminded them to stay safe. His adorable daughter also bowed politely to everyone. After receiving so much care from the villagers during this time, the blood demon felt reluctant to leave as well. In his previous life, this place was also where he experienced the only truly happy moments of his life. Although they were leaving now, the blood demon had already told the village chief that if anything happened, he would return immediately. More than anything, he hoped these villagers could live peacefully and happily forever. Meanwhile, inside the Hebei Peng clan, I don't think we need to accept the Mirim Alliance's request this time. We should not be controlled by the decisions of other great clans. Enough. Everyone, be quiet. Peng Seijin, what is your opinion? Father, the Mirim Alliance's request is meant to suppress outside forces, so their reason is justified. Since this is the responsibility of the Orthodox Mirim, obeying them is the correct choice. But if we give in once, they will only make even more unreasonable demands in the future. That is true. However, if we ignore matters like this, they will use it as an excuse to target us. A good answer. It seems you already understand the principles of the Mirim Alliance, insight far beyond his age, and a calm, steady judgment. Indeed, he has proven himself worthy of becoming the future clan leader. At that moment, a servant hurried in with a report. Clan leader, your youngest daughter, Miss Peng Se-yan, has returned. Hearing this, Peng Mokgang clenched his fist in anger. Who did you say has returned? Meanwhile, inside the Sichuan Tang clan, I never imagined my own son would become the mastermind behind the black and white demons. It seems I failed completely as a father. The man speaking was Deng Jinwu, the leader of the Sichuan Dang clan, known as the Poison Rain. Deng Jinwu had gone into seclusion years ago, but after hearing that his son's martial core had been destroyed, he ended his seclusion and personally stepped forward. Even though his eldest son's martial abilities had been crippled, he still told Deng Mokjun not to pursue the blood demon. After all, chasing someone with such overwhelming martial power would be meaningless. Father, are you truly planning to let this go? The Tang clan will never forget a debt, whether it is gratitude or revenge. But right now, the Tang clan must first feel ashamed. Meanwhile, the blood demon had arrived at the Peng clan with his wife and daughter. At this moment, both he and his wife were nervous, unsure of what would happen next. Then, a voice saying "sister" broke the silence. The person who arrived was the young master of the Hebei Peng clan, Peng Seijin. Seeing her younger brother, the blood demon's wife immediately became happy. I can't believe you've grown this tall, my wife said. You're the same, sister. How have you been lately? Peng Seijin replied. It's been a long time, brother-in-law. Peng Seijin greeted me. You too. Are you feeling well these days? While they were talking, a small hand gently poked Peng Seijin's leg. Only then did Peng Seijin notice the adorable little girl standing in front of him. The blood demon introduced her. This is your niece, Yo So Yol. Hearing this, Peng Seijin became flustered. He never expected to have a niece, especially one so adorable. Sister, can I hold her for a while? Soon after, the mother-in-law hurried over as well. The moment she saw her daughter, she grabbed her face and carefully examined her. How could you leave like that and never keep in contact with us? Meanwhile, So Yul, who was being held by Peng Seijin, looked confused and wondered why her mother was crying. The child immediately caught her grandmother's attention. Stroking the girl's head, her grandmother said emotionally, "She looks exactly like you did when you were little." The blood demon stepped forward and apologized to his mother-in-law. "Please forgive me for causing you so much trouble." Looking at him, his mother-in-law said, "It seems my daughter truly loves you. You must be exhausted from the journey. Rest well for now." At that moment, a deep and rough voice suddenly came from outside the door. "Impossible. Who allowed him to come here?" Although the blood demon had prepared himself mentally, he was still shaken by the overwhelming presence of his father-in-law. The man walked up to his daughter and said, "You abandoned everything in the family and left however you wanted. Is this truly the life you chose?" Facing his accusation, his usually gentle daughter calmly replied, "What is wrong with the way I chose to live? I left this place and started a new life somewhere no one knew me. Of course, there were many difficult days, but even so, I was happy every single moment because I was living my own life, not one decided by someone else." How dare you say something like that so proudly? Do you know how many people mocked the Peng clan after you left? And now you suddenly return. Tell me, why did you come back? Unable to listen any longer, the mother-in-law interrupted her husband and stopped his questioning. "Why do you keep saying things you don't mean? Can't you change your personality? Ever since our daughter left, you couldn't sleep properly for half a year. Every night you still went to her room. Have you forgotten those things? Or are you just unwilling to admit them? Now that your daughter has returned, why don't you hold your granddaughter?" Looking at the little girl in front of him, the father-in-law froze. The child was simply too adorable. "This adorable little girl is my granddaughter?" In that moment, the little girl completely captured his heart. Looking at his granddaughter, he didn't know how to react. But when the girl approached him, it was as if his bloodline awakened. He immediately picked her up and happily carried her around. After catching up with each other, the father-in-law brought the blood demon to a private room for a conversation. "I never imagined my daughter would leave the family for someone else. Back then, I even considered forcing her to return. But after seeing how happy she was, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I once hoped she would forget this family completely and live happily. Yet now, she has returned. I apologize, father-in-law." The blood demon sincerely apologized. His father-in-law asked, "Does this mean you regret your decision back then?" "No, I have never regretted what I chose that day," the blood demon answered firmly. "My wife and daughter have always been the reason I keep living. Even if I went back to that day, I would make the exact same choice." "Then, why are you apologizing?" the clan leader questioned. "Because we made you worry, and because we selfishly left back then, only to return again now," the blood demon replied. "I no longer want my wife to continue living while carrying the pain of abandoning her family. And I want my daughter to know that she has other family members who love her. You really have changed. I am prepared to do anything to protect my family. So please accept us, father." Peng Mok Gang was deeply shocked. Putting aside their return, I never imagined that the weak and useless scholar from before would become someone like this. However, even if they stay, the real question is whether he can endure life inside the Peng clan. "Very well. I have decided I will allow you to stay here. But you should be prepared. The Hebei Peng clan is not a place where a weak scholar can easily adapt." "Understood. I am willing to accept whatever happens next." Sometime later, inside the Hebei Peng clan, 1 month had passed since the blood demon arrived at the Hebei Peng clan. During this time, he never relaxed his training. His progress in martial arts was far faster than in his previous life. If things continued this way, he would soon surpass his former level. However, it was still too early to reveal his true identity. To protect his family, the blood demon needed to become even stronger. Meanwhile, a group of young disciples gathered inside the Peng clan training hall. "That new scholar is really annoying. I don't know why, but he always has that smile on his face." Someone suggested that they should teach this newcomer a lesson. After all, in their eyes, this man did not truly belong to the Peng clan, so they decided to make him pay in their own way. The next morning, while the blood demon was passing by the training hall, one of the disciples called out to him, "I heard you are always focused on studying. Would you like to join us for a morning run? You are part of the Peng clan now, but we haven't spent much time together. Let's walk around and get familiar with each other." "Sounds good. I'll join you." "Great. Then I'll see you tomorrow morning." After the blood demon left, the disciple revealed a sinister smile. "Morning runs in the Hebei Peng clan? This scholar probably doesn't know that this is called the run from hell. Tomorrow, I'll show him what real hell feels like." The next day, the disciples gathered together. "He really agreed to come? Are you sure this is okay? What if something goes wrong?" one disciple asked nervously. "Why worry? It's just a simple run," another replied. "He needs to pay for shamelessly marrying Miss Sion," a disciple muttered. "But he has to show up first," the leader sneered. "Otherwise, how can we teach him a lesson? If he doesn't come, all our preparation would be wasted. If he refuses to come, that only proves he is a weak man." While they were talking, the blood demon arrived, wearing ordinary clothes. "Am I late?" the blood demon asked. "No, you came at the perfect time," the leader replied. "These are some of the finest disciples of the Peng clan," the leader introduced. It is our honor to meet you, the disciples chimed in. After the blood demon joined the group, the leader of the disciples thought to himself, that annoying scholar, let's see how long you can keep pretending to be so arrogant. Since the weather was extremely hot, everyone removed their shirts before starting the run. In their minds, the reason the blood demon kept his clothes on was because he was ashamed of his weak-looking body. They also attached weights to their wrists and ankles to increase the difficulty. But what shocked them was that as time passed, the seemingly weak scholar maintained his pace and continued running ahead of everyone. This made the disciples become curious about him. How can an ordinary scholar have such terrifying endurance? After completing one lap, the clan leader noticed that the blood demon showed no signs of exhaustion, so he ordered everyone to continue running more laps. Under the blazing sun, every disciple was covered in sweat. Some even ended up vomiting because they had run for too long. After half a day, all the disciples collapsed from exhaustion. Yet the blood demon remained completely calm without even a drop of sweat. Everyone was left unable to believe what they were seeing. The next day, the blood demon appeared at the training ground right on time again. For several days in a row, he led the disciples through high-intensity training, until one day, the exhausted team leader finally told the blood demon that he no longer needed to join the morning runs. The rumors about this unusual training quickly spread throughout the Pain clan. After hearing about it, his wife became curious. When did you become so enduring? Before you would be out of breath after running only a short distance. But it doesn't matter. No matter how you change, I will always support you. Hearing this, the blood demon smiled. After joining the Pain clan, his ability to adapt had exceeded his expectations. Although he was sometimes looked down on as an outsider who married into the Pain clan, it meant nothing compared to his previous life. Back then, things were far worse than they were now. Compared to before, this peaceful life was already a blessing for the blood demon. Meanwhile, inside a certain tavern, thanks to you, first young master, we finally feel safe. We common people will never forget your kindness. There's no need to thank me. If merchant and Hebei encounter trouble, I will gladly help. We wish you a safe journey back, the merchant said. If you face any difficulties in the future, tell me immediately. Peng Seijin replied. I suppose I indulged myself a little too much today. Peng Seijin muttered. But young master, wouldn't it be better to stay here for the night? A guard suggested. No, I still have things to handle tomorrow. Besides, my adorable niece is waiting for me at home. At that moment, Peng Seijin immediately sensed something unusual around him. He shouted, "Who's there?" Realizing they had been discovered, the hidden attackers immediately revealed their sharp weapons. In the next moment, countless masked figures appeared from the bamboo forest and surrounded them. Facing the dangerous situation, Peng Seijin instantly realized they were in trouble. After a fierce battle, the guards decided to stand in front of their young master and buy him time to escape. At that moment, Peng Seijin's left arm had already suffered a severe injury, but right now, escaping was the only priority. However, during his escape, he encountered a broken cliff bridge ahead. At the same time, the pursuers had already caught up behind him, and on the other side of the bridge, assassins were already waiting. Peng Seijin was completely surrounded with nowhere left to go. He calmly looked down at the endless abyss beneath him. His only choice was to jump. Even though there was a river below, surviving such a fall was almost impossible. After making his decision, Peng Seijin swung his sword and cut down the bridge. The assassins standing on the bridge were completely stunned. They never expected Peng Seijin to choose such a desperate move. Later, a roadside merchant discovered that the cliff path had been destroyed and found a blood-stained piece of clothing nearby. He immediately reported it to the Peng clan. The only confirmed information was that the guards were dead, while the young master had disappeared without a trace. Inside the Peng clan council hall, everyone discussed angrily, "We must find the mastermind and make them pay. Whether the young master is alive or dead, we need to find him." After that, the father-in-law ordered every martial artist in the clan to search for Peng Seijin after hearing that her son had gone missing. Peng Seijin's mother stayed awake all night. Meanwhile, the blood demon stood nearby, deep in thought. In truth, he had already expected something like this to happen. The disappearance of the eldest son of the Hebei Peng clan had been a famous event in his previous life. Although he didn't remember the exact timing, he knew that Peng Seijin eventually survived, but lost his entire left arm. Peng Seijin was the first person in the Peng clan to sincerely accept the blood demon. Even when revenge consumed him in his previous life, Peng Seijin's story remained deeply engraved in his memory. Therefore, in this life, the blood demon decided to change his fate. Meanwhile, somewhere else, After learning that Pang Se-jin was still alive, the mastermind became furious. The masked man reported, "His resistance is extremely fierce, but it will end soon. There is no need to worry. It better be that way. Otherwise, don't expect me to pay the full amount. Our target is one of the 5 great families. Because of this, the survival of our entire organization is at risk, so don't try any foolish tricks. We are businessmen. When something matters, we never hesitate to spend money. Understood? I will return soon with a result that satisfies you." As soon as he finished speaking, the masked man disappeared and reappeared on the rooftop. Although his movement was extremely fast, the blood demon still noticed him immediately. Meanwhile, Pang Se-jin continued fighting against the remaining assassins. "You bastards. Do you really think you can attack the Pang clan and escape safely? Don't worry. We will accept the consequences ourselves." At that moment, one of the subordinates rushed over to report. "Captain, can I kill him now? Because of this man we have already lost many of our soldiers," a subordinate asked. "Good. Your courage is commendable. Then I'll leave him to you," the captain replied. As the masked man approached, Pang Se-jin immediately raised his sword to defend himself. However, he had no idea that the person hiding behind the mask was actually the blood demon. The moment he got close, the blood demon quietly told him, "I'm here to save you." His first priority was treating Pang Se-jin's nearly destroyed arm. The next moment, golden inner energy flowed from the blood demon's fingertips and entered Pang Se-jin's left arm. Miraculously, the arm that had been damaged by poison quickly regained feeling. While Pang Se-jin was still shocked, the blood demon told him to sit down and rest for now. At that moment, the assassination captain realized something was wrong. To survive against so many assassins for this long, this man is truly impressive. Sending such a large force just to deal with one person is really frustrating. In the next instant, the blood demon drew his sword with lightning speed. When the assassination captain saw the killing intent in the blood demon's eyes, the man who had been arrogant moments ago was suddenly overwhelmed by fear. With the blood demon's sword drawing technique, a violent storm of sword energy erupted and lifted several assassins into the air. Within the storm, countless blades of wind tore through their bodies. Soon, the white tornado was dyed completely red. When the technique finally ended, every assassin had been reduced to broken corpses, with blood falling like rain. The only one left standing was the assassination captain. Seeing this scene, Pang Se-jin was completely stunned. He destroyed all of them with a single move, he muttered. What kind of realm must someone reach to possess such power? The assassination captain was completely terrified. When he noticed the blood demon's gaze, he quickly said, "Let's talk, we can discuss this." But the moment he finished speaking, a powerful attack struck his body. The blood demon was surprised because that attack did not come from him. A large hand was tightly gripping the assassination captain's neck. The person who arrived was none other than his father-in-law, Pang Mok-gang. "You bastards, who is trying to target the Pang clan?" he roared. Seeing this, the blood demon was stunned. "This is bad. I never expected my father-in-law to appear at this moment," the blood demon thought. "In my previous life, I only heard that Pang Se-jin barely survived. I assumed he returned to the clan by himself. Could it be his father was the one who saved him?" After eliminating the final assassin, Pang Mok-gang turned his cold gaze toward the blood demon. He told Pang Se-jin to hold on for a little longer, because he would deal with the blood demon next. The moment he finished speaking, his father-in-law released a terrifying surge of inner energy. In the next instant, his figure disappeared from the spot. Before the blood demon could react, his father-in-law had already appeared in front of him and thrown a punch. The blood demon never expected his speed to be this incredible. The punch slammed directly into the blood demon's face. In his previous life, this strike would have been enough to kill the weak scholar he once was. The blood demon originally thought his father-in-law specialized in swordsmanship, but his punches were equally impressive. While he was thinking, his father-in-law rushed forward again. But this time, the blood demon was already prepared. His father-in-law was shocked that a seemingly ordinary assassin could actually evade his attack. At that moment, he became serious and prepared to use his true sword techniques. In the next second, countless sharp sword shadows shot toward the blood demon as he swung his blade. The terrifying sword energy even pierced through the trees across the entire forest. What overwhelming pressure, the blood demon thought to himself. If I had neglected my training all these years, I would never be able to withstand this. Are you really planning to keep your sword sheathed until the very end? Pang Mok-gang demanded. Never underestimate the Hebei Pang clan. As soon as he finished speaking, an even stronger slash followed. However, facing an attack powerful enough to kill ordinary experts, the blood demon did not retreat. He calmly drew the sword at his waist. The next moment, the light of his sword-drawing technique collided with his father-in-law's attack. When the dust settled, the blood demon was still standing there, completely unharmed. This scene left his father-in-law deeply shocked. What surprised him even more was the powerful protective energy surrounding the blood demon. That force had instantly neutralized his attack. He had never seen such overwhelming power before. His father-in-law shouted, "Why, someone with this kind of strength would stoop to committing such disgraceful acts? Answer me." The situation was becoming more troublesome. As a martial artist, fighting the leader of the Peng clan was an honor, but this situation was clearly going wrong. When the blood demon remained silent, his father-in-law transferred his inner energy into his sword, preparing to end the battle. At that moment, Peng Seijin, who had recovered some strength, stepped in front of him. "Father, that man is the one who saved me. He is also the one who killed all the assassins here." Hearing this, his father-in-law was clearly stunned. Peng Seijin was right. All the wounds at the scene were caused by swords. It seemed the person who defeated those assassins was truly this man. At that moment, Peng Seijin collapsed to his knees from exhaustion. Soon after, he completely lost consciousness. Now was the perfect chance for the blood demon to leave. Watching him disappear, his father-in-law couldn't help but say, "What incredible movement technique." Not long after, the blood demon arrived at a mountaintop. The merchant who had hired the assassins was tied up there. The blood demon then removed the cloth covering his mouth. The merchant clearly had no idea what happened. "I was just sleeping in my room. How did I suddenly end up here? Young man, please save me. I will give you anything you want." "Really? That's perfect. Then tell me where you hid all your money." After revealing the location of his hidden wealth, the merchant immediately begged the blood demon to untie him. "After all, this branch won't be able to hold me much longer." However, at that moment the blood demon directly told the merchant that he was from the Peng clan. "Since my brother-in-law is still alive and even escaped losing his arm, your fate has also changed." This man was the owner of Golden Manor, a merchant with great influence in the Murim world. For money, he would commit cruel crimes against innocent people without hesitation. Your crimes have trampled over the poor, the weak, and the innocent, all just to fill your filthy pockets. For trash like you, I have been wondering what kind of death would suit you best. You must be furious right now. The wealth you never got the chance to enjoy has all disappeared. Now you can only struggle here in pain and wait for death, together with the corpses below. After saying that, the blood demon turned and walked away. The moment he left, the branch supporting the merchant suddenly snapped. The next day, Peng Seijin finally woke up from his unconscious state. Throughout the night, the blood demon, his wife, and her family stayed by his side. Peng Seijin's memories were still somewhat unclear. He vaguely remembered being surrounded by assassins, while his guards sacrificed themselves to block the pursuers. In the end, he had also suffered severe injuries. "I can't believe I actually survived. Father, I made you worry." After being helped to sit up, Peng Seijin thanked the blood demon. However, there was still a trace of doubt in his eyes when he looked at him, because the image of the mysterious masked expert from the previous night appeared in his mind again. That person felt strangely familiar. The blood demon pretended to be confused. "Should we call a doctor to check on you?" Peng Seijin told the blood demon and his sister that he was already fine. "That's strange. Maybe I'm just imagining things. They can't possibly be the same person." Hearing his muttering, the blood demon realized that Peng Seijin had not discovered his true identity. Half a month later, a merchant from Hebei came to the Peng clan to confess. He admitted that he had been ordered to apply diluted tracking liquid onto clothing in order to follow Peng Seijin's scent. The person who hired him was the owner of Golden Manor. However, when the Peng clan members went to investigate Golden Manor, they were completely shocked. The once glorious Golden Manor had already been reduced to ashes by a fire. Furthermore, its owner was found dead at the bottom of a cliff, and all the treasures inside the manor had disappeared. Although the true identity behind the Golden Manor incident remained unknown, the father and son of the Peng clan had someone in mind. Could the masked man who saved Peng Seijin be responsible for everything? Not long after, the blood demon was wandering around inside the Peng clan. His actions were completely noticed by his mother-in-law. She then approached her husband and asked why he had not given the blood demon any responsibilities. Hearing this, Peng Mokgong scoffed. "He is nothing more than a freeloader. wasting his days like a lazy man. But he is still our only son-in-law, his wife urged. As the clan leader, you should guide him. He doesn't need some impressive title, but you can at least give him a job that nobody else wants. A job that nobody wants. Pang Mokgang muttered. Have you already thought of something? She asked. Yes, don't worry, I will do as you suggested, he replied. The punishment period for those people has already ended, and they should be returning soon. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a group of bandits were robbing the servants who had just left Golden Manor. They refused to believe that the manor had already been emptied, so they threatened the servants and demanded to know where the treasures were hidden. But while the bandits were acting arrogantly, their men behind them were suddenly thrown away by an unknown force. Seeing this, the bandit leader immediately felt something was wrong. So, you are the ones who have been causing trouble around here recently. Who are you? Why did you come to our territory? These bandits are really noisy. The moment those words were spoken, two bandits were instantly cut in half. What was shocking was that this deadly attack came from two small children. The bandit leader froze in disbelief. Before he could react, a large man stepped forward and cut off his head with a single strike. Be careful. Don't scare these innocent merchants. At that moment, one of the bandits suddenly grabbed the merchant's wife as a hostage. But before he could say anything, two arrows pierced directly through his head. It turned out someone had already been watching everything from a tree in the distance. This person was also wearing the same uniform as the others. Everyone, good work. The bandits have been dealt with. You are safe now. But when he turned around, he found the two merchants kneeling on the ground and begging them to spare their lives. This left him confused. Do we really look that much like bandits? He wondered. I told you before, another member replied. We look more like bandits than an actual combat unit. At that moment, the two merchants noticed the symbol on their chests. A white wolf marked on their chests and backs. Could you be the elite unit of the Peng clan, the White Wolf Squad? My lords, thank you so much for saving us. Since everything is settled, let's head back. We've already been away for too long. It turned out they had previously been sent away as punishment after offending the young master of the Peng clan. While returning home, they noticed a man standing in the distance. Wait, why is someone standing at our entrance? Could he be from another clan? One of them asked. Before the blood demon could say anything after they returned, the two children immediately looked him up and down. Why are you here? And I don't like your scent. At that moment, the captain immediately pushed their heads down. Please forgive them. Their punishment was only recently lifted, so their emotions are still unstable. Actually, the clan leader sent me here because of an important matter, the blood demon explained. Strange. Has the Peng clan always had someone like you? We've only been gone for half a year, a squad member muttered. Actually, I haven't been part of the Peng clan for very long, he replied. Come in, one by one. We can take our time. Hello, I am Gu Tae-san, a member of the White Wolf Squad. My name is Yo Won-hui. It is nice to meet you. From this moment onward, I will become the commander of the White Wolf Squad. After saying that, the blood demon showed the command token given to him by his father-in-law. This token represented the clan leader's authority, meaning the White Wolf Squad had to follow his orders. However, judging by Gu Tae-san's expression, he clearly wasn't willing to accept this arrangement. Even during his disciplinary punishment, he had heard many rumors about the blood demon. In their eyes, he was nothing more than a scholar who had never learned martial arts. Gu Tae-san said seriously, the White Wolf Squad exists for real combat. This is completely different from taking a casual walk around the courtyard. Even if this is the clan leader's order, we cannot accept someone with no actual battle experience as our commander. I have heard about you. You stood against injustice and followed the path of justice and chivalry. You were supposed to be a righteous wolf. But looking at you now, you seem more like a mad dog that can't even tell right from wrong. Hearing this, Gu Tae-san angrily crushed the teacup in his hand. What did you just say? I'm asking if you are proud of disobeying orders. A combat unit is like the clan leader's sword. If that sword refuses to follow its owner's will, then what purpose does it serve? No wonder the clan leader dislikes you. No matter how sharp a sword is, if it goes against its owner's will, it becomes nothing but a useless weapon. The moment he finished speaking, Gu Tae-san stood up and smashed the table in front of him with one palm. The force was so powerful that cracks spread across the floor. You are just an arrogant son-in-law. What right do you have to command us? Just as he was about to attack the blood demon, the captain of the White Wolf Squad stepped forward. Watch your manners. How can you treat the commander with such disrespect? The White Wolf Squad, the combat unit of the Hebei Peng clan, had already become famous in the Blood Demon's previous life when he was known as the Blood Demon for their ruthless elimination of evil forces. However, back then, they were not known as the White Wolf Squad. They operated under the name Red Wolf Squad. The Blood Demon had always wondered why people with such strong warrior principles would leave the Pen clan and eventually change their name to the Red Wolf Squad. But after seeing them with his own eyes, he finally understood. They were not people who could simply be controlled by rules and discipline. They were not ordinary soldiers. They were a group of fierce wolves. No wonder his father-in-law, Peng Mok Gang, eventually distanced himself from them. And the core of this problem is you, Gu Tae-san, the Blood Demon said coldly. My name is Oh Chae-mu. I am the vice commander of the White Wolf Squad. I pay my respects to the commander. Please forgive Tae-san's reckless behavior. If this is the clan leader's command, we will obey without question. His disrespect was also my responsibility. I will properly discipline the members from now on. Since that is the case, I will let this matter go this time. Thank you, Commander. I have already gathered the squad members outside. Please allow me to formally introduce them. That night, while Oh Chae-mu was talking with the squad members, he said, "From now on, we will find a way to make this annoying guy leave." Then why did you stop me earlier? I could have scared him away myself, Gu Tae-san grumbled. If such a weak scholar becomes our commander, where does our pride go? Another member complained. Enough. Oh Chae-mu interrupted. We cannot personally force him out. If we do that, the clan leader will never approve of us. Instead, we will make him unable to endure it and leave on his own. A few days later, Oh Chae-mu came to the Blood Demon and told him that the White Wolf Squad had accepted an outside mission. But according to what I know, this mission should belong to the White Tiger Squad. And isn't there also the White Martial Squad? The Blood Demon asked. The White Tiger Squad is the clan's core combat force, so they cannot be moved easily. Oh Chae-mu explained. As for the White Martial Squad, their captain is still recovering, so they can only handle requests within the area. That means if we do not accept this mission, nobody else can complete it, he concluded. Then prepare to leave, the Blood Demon ordered. Can we depart tomorrow? No problem, Oh Chae-mu replied. However, you should prepare to be away for several days. Oh Chae-mu thought to himself. Before long, you will understand how terrifying a combat unit truly is. You have spent your entire life comfortably studying, but the world we live in is completely different from what you imagine. The next morning, before they departed, his wife came with their daughter to see him off. Worry filled his wife's eyes. It had taken him a long time to convince her to let him leave the night before. After that, they mounted their horses and headed toward the mission location. The journey went smoothly, and the Blood Demon gradually became closer with the members of the White Wolf Squad. After traveling for an entire day, they finally arrived at an abandoned village. At that moment, Oh Chae-mu told the Blood Demon this was the location of their mission. But what surprised the Blood Demon was, the situation here was even worse than described in the letter. There was a bandit stronghold nearby, so their target was that place. Villages like this often have bandits nearby. I heard their numbers have even doubled recently, Oh Chae-mu explained. However, the Blood Demon couldn't help feeling suspicious. Could a village this poor really be worth so many bandits coming here to raid? Just then, several bandits appeared in front of them. How strange. Why would a fancy scholar come all the way to a place like this? A bandit sneered. Did you come here just to deliver your money to us? Since you already know the situation, leave everything behind and take your servants away. At that moment, Oh Chae-mu told the Blood Demon he would handle this. We are from the Peng clan. Surrender immediately and take us to your base. If you cooperate, I will spare your life. Oh Chae-mu warned. Dream on. Do you even know whose territory this mountain belongs to? The bandit yelled. Everyone, attack. Capture this arrogant bastard. What a bunch of fools who don't know their own limits. Gu Tae-san scoffed. In an instant, the vice commander cut down two bandits with only a slight movement of his fingers. He instantly severed one bandit's arm. Seeing this, the bandit leader stepped back in fear. Then, the vice commander threw the severed arm directly at his head. Now, you know what you need to do, right? You will guide us to your main base, Oh Chae-mu ordered. Not long after, they arrived at the bandits' stronghold. Surprisingly, it was much larger than they expected. A bandit standing on the watchtower noticed them and questioned who they were. Seeing this, the vice commander turned toward the others behind him. Jisoo, Ji-san, move out, Oh Chae-mu ordered. Immediately afterward, Gu Tae-san spread out his hands. The two children stepped onto his palms at the same time with perfect coordination. Clearly, they had mastered this technique through countless repetitions. The next moment, his tremendous strength launched him directly toward the watchtower. The ordinary bandits guarding the tower were no match for them. Just like that, the White Wolf squad successfully entered the bandit stronghold. Their teamwork was flawless, showing that this group had experienced countless battles between life and death. But the real battle was only beginning. Who the hell are you? How dare you enter my territory? The person standing before them was the leader of this bandit camp. You're nothing but a group of bandits, yet you sure have a big mouth, Ochemu mocked. At that moment, the atmosphere between them became extremely tense. The bandit leader arrogantly declared, "In my entire life, I have never lost a battle of strength. So, I will make you regret stepping into my territory." However, Gu Tae-san was equally confident. As the bandit leader swung down his massive axe, Gu Tae-san moved with strange speed and instantly appeared behind him. In the next moment, Gu Tae-san launched a series of continuous attacks against the bandit leader. But it was obvious that Gu Tae-san was only playing with him and had not used his true strength. In Gu Tae-san's eyes, this bandit leader was as slow as a turtle and could never touch him. This humiliation completely enraged the arrogant bandit leader. He roared and swung his massive axe with all his strength. The overwhelming force created a terrifying whirlwind. But to Gu Tae-san, this attack was nothing more than child's play. The next moment, their weapons collided. The bandit leader's massive axe was instantly cut in half by Gu Tae-san's blade. In the same motion, Gu Tae-san even cut off one of his fingers. Looks like everything ends here. After saying that, Gu Tae-san ignored the fallen bandit leader and directly struck toward his head. The huge commotion immediately attracted the other bandits who were still resisting. Seeing this, the vice commander praised Gu Tae-san for his work. Meanwhile, the dying bandit leader muttered weakly, "Don't think you have won. The moment you stepped here, you entered your own grave." As he spoke, he pointed toward a distant building. "Soon, every single one of you will regret coming here." Everyone around him stared at the fallen leader, unable to understand what he meant. The vice commander then shouted, "The rest of you bandits, drop your weapons. Your leader is dead." However, the blood demon felt something was wrong. The words spoken by the bandit leader before his death felt less like a threat and more like a warning. The bandits who had been fighting desperately moments ago suddenly dropped to their knees, trembling in fear. "Are you all crazy? Or do you want to stay here and die?" the vice commander yelled. But right after saying that, he also noticed something unusual. The ground beneath them had begun shaking strangely. The next moment, a terrifying force blasted straight through the building behind them, and that location was exactly where the bandit leader had pointed before his death. Through the thick smoke, an old man slowly walked out. He approached casually and spoke with annoyance. "Who are you people? How dare you disturb my sleep here?" Looking at the red mark on the old man's face, the vice commander suddenly felt a strange sense of familiarity. At that moment, Gu Tae-san stepped forward first and questioned why the old man was here. Seeing this, Ochemu quickly stopped him and warned him not to approach. However, before he could finish speaking, a fist suddenly slammed into Gu Tae-san's face. The overwhelming impact instantly sent Gu Tae-san flying backward. The terrifying force was enough to knock out the previously confident Gu Tae-san. "Interesting. I originally planned to kill you with one strike, but your body is surprisingly tough," the old man sneered. Seeing their companion fall, Jisoo and Jisan immediately rushed toward the old man at incredible speed. At the same time, the ranged members behind them fired their arrows. Facing their attacks, the old man simply smiled calmly. With a slight movement of his finger, countless attacks infused with inner energy shot forward and sent everyone flying. In the old man's eyes, the White Wolf squad's attacks were hardly worth considering, so he decided to have some fun with them. At that moment, Ochemu revealed the old man's true identity to the blood demon. He was the man known throughout the martial world as the evil madman, the Smiling Demon. Decades ago, the Smiling Demon plunged the entire martial world into chaos and bloodshed. The terrifying red birthmark on his face became a symbol that no one could forget. Because of his countless atrocities, he became the public enemy of the entire martial world. One day, after murdering the young daughter of the Namgung clan and the Alliance leader's younger sister, he disappeared without a trace. He never expected a monster like him to be hiding inside a bandit stronghold. By now, many members of the White Wolf squad had already been seriously injured by him. Even Gu Tae-sun, who had the strongest defense among them, could barely survive against such overwhelming power. If the old man had not been playing with them, Jisoo and Ji-san would have already been killed instantly. "I'm in a great mood right now," the smiling demon said, looking at everyone. "You bandits can play with me too." Facing this monster, none of the bandits wanted to charge forward and throw away their lives. Soon, the frightened bandits dropped their weapons and fled without looking back. But at this point, how could the old man possibly let them escape? The next moment, he gathered inner energy at his fingertip and casually flicked it forward. The terrifying power instantly transformed into several beams of energy, piercing through the fleeing bandits. Hearing their screams, the old man became even more excited. Meanwhile, Gu Tae-san finally regained consciousness. Seeing someone humiliate the White Wolf squad like this, Gu Tae-san was filled with rage and wanted to kill him. He grabbed his sword and charged toward the old man before Oh Chae-moo could stop him. Seeing this, the old man smiled with interest and gathered the same energy at his fingertip once again. The next moment, the attack split apart into countless fragments and shot toward Gu Tae-san at incredible speed. Although these attacks were not enough to kill him, they still caused him tremendous pain. As Gu Tae-san struggled to block the attacks, an even larger sphere of energy appeared directly in front of him. The terrifying force exploded against his face. With Gu Tae-san's current strength, there was no way he could block it without injury. "I've changed my mind. I originally planned to play with you for an entire day," he sneered. "But now I want to torture you properly and tear every one of you apart." Oh Chae-moo could never allow the old man to continue. He immediately ordered the remaining members of the White Wolf squad to form the 5-ring sword formation. Soon, the surviving members surrounded the old man from every direction. However, it was already too late. "Being able to witness my martial arts is an honor for you." In the next moment, overwhelming power swept across everyone around him. Even the slightest contact with this energy was enough to cause severe injuries. As the old man continued releasing his inner energy, countless attacks filled the area, leaving them nowhere to escape. In just moments, the members of the White Wolf squad collapsed into pools of blood. At that moment, Oh Chae-moo desperately searched for a way to escape. Facing such a massive gap in strength, they had absolutely no chance of winning. "Well, are you planning to beg for your life? If you kneel, perhaps I might spare you." Just then, the blood demon stepped in front of Oh Chae-moo. "I'll handle this from now on. You retreat first." Oh Chae-moo never expected that this newly appointed scholar commander would possess such courage. Another fool who doesn't know his place. "Are you the leader of this so-called White Wolf squad?" At that moment, the old man believed the blood demon was nothing more than an insignificant person. After all, he could not sense even the slightest trace of inner energy from him. "Why are you stepping forward now? Do you want to beg for your life?" the old man sneered. "If I asked you to spare me, would you really let me live?" the blood demon asked. "That depends on what you can offer me," the old man replied. "Commander, don't listen to him. That monster is a cruel demon who has slaughtered countless people. He is lying to you." Oh Chae-moo yelled. "Be quiet. Whether I spare you depends on what valuable information you can provide," the old man threatened. "Fine. Then I will kill you in a way that won't be too painful," the blood demon said calmly. Hearing this, Oh Chae-moo froze. Even the old man wondered if he had heard correctly. "Are you mocking me right now? What an arrogant brat." As he spoke, terrifying inner energy erupted from the old man's arm. He refused to allow anyone to insult his power. The old man unleashed the same technique he had used before, except this time it was far more powerful. However, the blood demon simply closed his eyes and avoided every attack with ease. "I never expected an old man like you to be so unreasonable. We were still talking, yet you attacked first," the blood demon remarked. Hearing this, the old man became even more furious. The next moment, countless attacks rushed toward him. In response, the blood demon used the exact same technique and perfectly blocked every single attack. Not only that, he gathered a powerful burst of inner energy and launched it forward. The attack instantly shattered the old man's energy barrier. "Impossible. How did you do that? You can use my killing finger?" Even the 12 revered masters of the martial world could not imitate my unique technique. The old man gasped. At that moment, everyone in the White Wolf squad witnessed his true strength. The smiling demon possesses terrifying power, yet the commander perfectly copied his technique after seeing it only a few times. This is unbelievable. What kind of monster did Lady Peng Seon bring into the Peng clan? One thing was certain, That man was definitely not a useless scholar. At that moment, Ochemu felt relieved that he had never truly provoked someone like him. The Peng clan actually produced a monster like you. How ridiculous, the old man scoffed. To you, the Peng clan may look like a joke, but from this moment onward, it will become the greatest clan in the world, the blood demon declared. Hearing this, the old man let out a mocking laugh. Perhaps, but before that happens, I will personally destroy you. Do you think my fingers are the only thing I can use to attack? Witness my true power next. You should feel honored. In the next moment, the old man's body began to transform, turning into a muscular giant several meters tall. He had activated the ultimate form of his martial arts. Yet facing this terrifying transformation, the blood demon remained standing calmly in place. This scene left the White Wolf squad members confused. Suddenly, the old man changed his target and attacked Jisoo. Seeing this, Ochemu immediately rushed forward and pushed Jisoo away, although he successfully blocked the attack. The overwhelming force still damaged his internal organs. Seeing this, the old man became confused. He never expected the blood demon to leave his subordinate in danger and simply stand there. Where did all that courage you showed earlier go? Are you finally afraid after seeing this form of mine? The blood demon calmly replied, there was no need for me to move. They were able to block that attack because your strike was simply too weak. Those words instantly enraged the old man. He swore he would smash a hole through the blood demon's body. However, the blood demon's speed was far beyond his expectations. No matter how furiously he attacked, he could not touch him at all. For the first time in his life, the old man experienced humiliation. He stopped moving and began gathering all the power inside his body. In an instant, his overwhelming energy gathered into both fists. The next moment, massive fists formed from his inner energy, rained down toward the blood demon like a storm. Who would have thought that someone as glorious as me would be forced to reveal this much power by a mere rat? So today, I will show you my true strength. With that, the old man leaped into the air. The terrifying power condensed in his hands crashed down like a falling meteor. The impact created several massive craters across the battlefield, but to his surprise, the blood demon's figure had already disappeared. Before he could understand what happened, the blood demon appeared behind him with ghost-like speed. How laughable. Are you sure that was the full extent of your power? Hearing this, the old man became furious and launched another barrage of punches. You only dare to hurt those weaker than yourself, yet you are proud of it. You should be ashamed. Your strength is not even greater than mine, despite me being younger. While dodging his attacks, the blood demon gathered his inner energy at his fingertip and struck his neck. The overwhelming force caused the old man to cough violently. At that moment, the old man finally realized he might truly die here today. However, to everyone's surprise, he unleashed another terrifying burst of energy. The force was so powerful that the entire ground began shaking. The old man released all of his remaining energy, forcing his entire body into a berserk state. The terrifying pressure pushed every member of the White Wolf squad to the ground, leaving them unable to move. This is the true power of the smiling demon? No wonder he is so terrifying. The commander's strength is even more unbelievable. Ochemu thought to himself. Seeing this, the blood demon decided it was time to end the battle. As the smiling demon continued gathering his power, even the surrounding rocks began breaking apart from the pressure. His speed had surpassed anything he showed before. Seeing the blood demon continue to dodge, he mocked him. Do you only know how to run away? Are you afraid to attack? The blood demon ignored his provocation and simply waited for the perfect opportunity. The power released by the smiling demon was enough to easily destroy a tower. So this is the limit of your strength, the blood demon stated calmly. These boring attacks have already tired me. It is time to end this. In the next moment, the blood demon's palm struck directly toward his face. The terrifying impact sent the smiling demon crashing from the sky back to the ground. With just one strike, he shattered both of his legs and completely took away his ability to move. Realizing he had already lost, the smiling demon burned all of his remaining inner energy and placed everything on this final attack. In the next moment, terrifying energy shot directly toward Yo Won-hui. The smiling demon was a madman who spent his entire life hurting and killing others. Fighting someone like you is not even worth remembering, Yo Won-hui thought to himself. Your final attack is just as meaningless as you are. What Yo Won-hui used was a heavenly god-level martial art that he had never revealed before. The moment the golden energy erupted from his body, it immediately blocked the terrifying attack. Even as the smiling demon continued increasing his power, Yo Wenhui's golden aura kept pushing the attack back. Soon, Yo Wenhui's energy began approaching the smiling demon's body. The instant the two forces collided, a violent explosion erupted. When the smoke cleared, the smiling demon had already turned into ashes. A legendary demon had fallen, leaving everyone in the White Wolf squad unable to believe what they had witnessed. But what shocked them even more was that, after ending everything, Yo Wenhui remained completely calm, as if the battle had meant nothing to him. Meanwhile, during the time Yo Wenhui was away on the mission, his wife waited for his return every single day. Her eyes were filled with undeniable worry. At that moment, his mother-in-law came over and asked her to return inside, since the weather outside was still cold. However, her greatest concern was still Yo Wenhui's safety. Although the warriors of the Peng clan had experienced countless battles, her husband was still only an ordinary scholar. Because of that, she had barely been able to sleep peacefully these past few days. Just then, Peng Seijin hurried over. "Sister, the White Wolf squad has returned safely, and this time, they actually defeated the smiling demon who once terrified the entire martial world." At that moment, Gu Tae-san was holding the smiling demon's head in his hand. Everyone was shocked by the White Wolf squad's strength, but what surprised them even more was that Yo Wenhui, a mere scholar, had returned completely unharmed. As soon as Yo Wenhui stepped through the gate, he heard his wife's voice calling out to him. The moment she learned her husband had returned safely, she immediately brought their daughter to see him. After a brief reunion, Yo Wenhui and the others arrived outside his father-in-law's meeting room. Yo Wenhui smiled and said, "If the clan leader learns that you defeated that demon, he will definitely be pleased. This might even earn you his recognition." However, Oh Che-mu could not understand. "Why are you hiding the identity of the person who truly defeated the demon? Why are you giving this achievement to the White Wolf squad?" he asked. "The one who cut down that criminal was not us. Without you becoming our commander, the White Wolf squad would have already become that monster's prey," Oh Che-mu continued. "That's right, Commander," Gu Tae-san added. "You faced that demon alone and ultimately cut off his head. So we don't want to take away the achievement that belongs to you. Commander, please tell the clan leader the truth," they pleaded. The members of the White Wolf squad were simply too honest, Yo Wenhui realized. However, now that everything was resolved, revealing his true strength would only attract unnecessary attention, and that was exactly what he wanted to avoid. "Wait, does your wife also not know your true strength, Commander?" Oh Che-mu asked in surprise. "That's right. I have never told anyone," Yo Wenhui replied. "Then why did you reveal your power this time?" Gu Tae-san questioned. "Although I have only recently become your commander, I cannot just watch my subordinates die," Yo Wenhui explained calmly. "So stop giving the credit to me. If the truth is revealed, my life will become extremely troublesome." At that moment, one of the squad members raised his hand and asked a question. "What if other demons hear about this and come together to attack the White Wolf squad? What should we do then?" Yo Wenhui answered without changing his expression. "I will turn every one of them into a cold corpse." Oh Che-mu then reminded everyone, "Watch what you say, and from now on, increase your training. After all, we are now the squad that defeated the smiling demon." Not long after, when the clan leader learned about the White Wolf squad's achievement, he was extremely pleased. "I never expected you troublemakers to actually accomplish something this important." Oh Che-mu stepped forward and thanked the clan leader for his praise. Deep down, he understood that such a warm response from the clan leader was completely reasonable. For many years, neither the Murim Alliance nor other factions had been able to capture the smiling demon. Even though rumors claimed he had already suffered serious injuries, his displayed strength was still enough to rival the clan leader. Yet someone this powerful was easily defeated by their newly appointed commander. At that moment, Oh Che-mu desperately wanted to reveal the truth, but because he had promised Yo Wenhui, he kept the words to himself. Then, one of the clan leader's subordinates reported to him, "Before long, the name of the White Wolf squad will spread throughout the entire martial world. We may even receive invitations from various factions." Yes, that is certainly possible. After all, defeating such a powerful demon is no simple matter. Of course, this is an excellent opportunity for us. However, with something this important, I worry whether the current commander of the White Wolf squad can handle such a responsibility. Clan leader, please do not misunderstand. I do not intend to look down on your son-in-law. However, leading the White Wolf squad may be too heavy a burden for the current commander. Therefore, I sincerely wish to help him shoulder this responsibility. "What? Do you already have someone suitable in mind?" the clan leader asked. "Although I feel a little embarrassed saying this, My son may be very suitable for this position, the subordinate replied. But before this, I wanted your son to take this position, and you strongly opposed it, the clan leader pointed out. Back then, I was only worried that the timing was not right. My son was not prepared yet, the man explained. So you mean he is ready now? The clan leader questioned. As his parents, we believe he is fully prepared to take on this responsibility, he answered. At that moment, Vice Commander Oh Chae-moo wanted to step forward and object, but Yo Won-hui stopped him with a raised hand. Then, the clan leader looked at the members of the White Wolf squad around him. Your son may indeed be qualified for this position, but on a day like today, we should hear what the members of the White Wolf squad themselves think. Immediately afterward, the clan leader's rough voice echoed throughout the room. White Wolf squad, what do you think? I know you are not satisfied with the new commander. So, do you wish to replace your leader? As soon as he finished speaking, every member of the White Wolf squad firmly stepped forward. Clan leader, it is our honor to serve under the current commander of the White Wolf squad. Facing this situation, the subordinate could only approach his son and discuss how they should handle it. In his son's eyes, the White Wolf squad made this choice only because they did not want to embarrass the clan leader and his daughter. After all, this question had been asked in front of everyone. At this point, the White Wolf squad would never betray the clan leader, nor would they ever cut down their commander. Therefore, their only option was to find a way to make the commander leave on his own. Meanwhile, after finishing his work, Yo Won-hui returned home. The moment she saw her father return, his daughter happily rushed toward him. At that moment, Yo Won-hui felt the warmth of his family. Just then, Yo Won-hui suddenly felt someone scratching his back. It turned out his wife had already been standing behind him. However, he had been too focused on holding his daughter to notice her. Anyway, the clan leader was very satisfied this time. Before coming home, I spent some time celebrating with the members of the White Wolf squad, Yo Won-hui said. Hearing this, his wife interrupted him with a serious expression. Dear, can you really not leave the White Wolf squad? Yo Won-hui looked confused. Did something happen? He asked. No, his wife replied. Before, you told me you were going to suppress some bandits, but instead, you ended up facing a true monster. And he was not just an ordinary criminal, he was a terrifying monster whose hands were stained with the blood of countless martial masters. Dear, is there really anything more important than our daughter in your arms? If you get dragged into another battle and get injured, what will happen to me and our daughter? As she said this, his wife covered her eyes and began crying. It seemed Yo Won-hui had failed to think everything through. He originally believed that giving the credit to the White Wolf squad would solve everything, but he had been too careless. If that is what you want, I can resign from this position tomorrow, Yo Won-hui offered. Before he could finish speaking, his wife covered his mouth with her hand. Seeing this, their daughter shyly covered her eyes. Realizing their daughter was still there, his wife awkwardly lowered her hand. Do you think I don't know that you have already grown attached to the White Wolf squad? She sighed. To be honest, you cannot simply quit anymore. So I only want you to promise me 2 things. These will be promises that belong only to me. Several days later, in the courtyard, his daughter, with her hair tied into a bun, was swinging a tree branch in her hands. Meanwhile, Yo Won-hui trained with a wooden sword. This was because he had promised his wife 2 things. The first was to avoid dangerous missions whenever possible. The second was to improve his martial arts as much as he could. Because of that, during these days, Yo Won-hui could only pretend to seriously train in the courtyard. At that moment, a man approached Yo Won-hui. I finally have the chance to meet you in person. I have heard many stories about you. I heard that you recently started training in martial arts. This news has already spread throughout the entire clan. Meanwhile, Peng Do-han was filled with doubts. Why would the experienced members of the White Wolf squad accept someone like him? The more he thought about it, the more suspicious everything seemed. The White Wolf squad had achieved an incredible victory, yet none of the members mentioned it. Instead, they became unusually humble. Furthermore, when Peng Do-wan had previously questioned the vice commander, the only answer he received was a warning. Do not do anything foolish. Regardless, my abilities may be limited, but I still want to help. What do you think? Peng Do-hwan offered. Aren't you currently practicing martial arts? This kind of basic training might feel rather boring for you. Yo Won-hui replied. Yo Won-hui smiled slightly. This man just arrived, but I already understand what he is trying to do. For now, I'll just play along, he thought. What should I do now? Peng Do-wan asked. True growth comes from real battles. As the commander of the White Wolf squad, you must experience actual combat, he suggested. You're right. This situation also became far more dangerous than expected, so perhaps we can start with a simple sparring match. Really? But I just started training. Wouldn't the difference in our strength be too great? Of course, I am not asking for a serious duel. I only want to point out your weaknesses, Peng Dohuan explained. Since you are holding a wooden sword, show me the stance you have practiced before. Yes, exactly like that. However, you need a more stable center of gravity. Do not let your weapon control your movements. Every beginner faces this problem when they first start training. Now, try attacking me. Don't worry, even if you use all your strength, you won't be able to hurt me. Go ahead. Attack freely. The moment he finished speaking, Yo Wenhui disappeared from his position. Before Peng Dohuan could react, Yo Wenhui was already standing before him with his wooden sword raised. At that moment, in Peng Dohuan's eyes, Yo Wenhui seemed like a terrifying demon filled with killing intent, while he himself was nothing more than a helpless insect, completely trapped under his gaze, unable to control himself. Peng Dohuan shouted in shock. Yo Wenhui immediately stopped his attack. After lowering his wooden sword, Yo Wenhui asked, "Are you all right?" Clearly, the overwhelming pressure from that brief moment had completely shaken him. What exactly was that? How could such an attack come from a scholar who just started learning martial arts? Peng Dohuan thought to himself in shock. Later, the vice commander invited Yo Wenhui to the training grounds. He told him that he had something important to discuss. This made Yo Wenhui suspicious. Could they still be dissatisfied with me becoming commander and want me to step down? He wondered. However, once he arrived, the members of the squad pointed toward the vice commander, indicating that he was the one who wanted to meet him. "Then I will speak honestly," Oh Chemu said. "After our previous battle, we painfully realized how weak we truly were. Without your help, we would never have survived. So, Commander, please help us become stronger. We wish to receive your guidance." So that was the reason. Yo Wenhui immediately agreed. "However, you must prepare yourselves, because my training methods will be extremely painful." The next day, Yo Wenhui began giving the White Wolf squad a completely new training method. Each member carried massive stone blocks while performing squats, while Yo Wenhui stood nearby and guided them. To wield a higher level of martial arts, the body must be strong enough to support it. They need to undergo bone reconstruction. Although starting now is already a little late, Yo Wenhui thought to himself, I can still see that they have the potential to reach an even higher realm. At that moment, Yo Wenhui sensed movement on the rooftop. What a stubborn personality, he thought. Ever since that day, he has been following me non-stop. Perhaps I should teach him a lesson. Meanwhile, Peng Dohuan watched from the rooftop, completely confused by what he was seeing. What exactly are these people trying to achieve by enduring this? Not long ago, Peng Dohuan had intended to teach Yo Wenhui, a mere scholar, a lesson. But ever since that day, the terrifying image in his mind had never disappeared. He was certain that Yo Wenhui was no ordinary person, so he decided to keep following him and uncover his true identity. However, after all this time, Peng Dohuan still found nothing. Yo Wenhui simply spent every day with his family. As a result, Peng Dohuan remained completely clueless, and his frustration continued to grow. Afterwards, Yo Wenhui told everyone to put down the stones and take a break. Your performance is better than I expected, he announced. If you can continue this level of determination, then, in the future, I will be able to grant any wish you have. From above, Peng Dohuan still could not understand. Despite such brutal training, why were these people still so motivated? Soon night arrived. Yo Wenhui headed deep into the forest, alone, and he already knew that Peng Dohuan had been following him from behind. Peng Dohuan wondered, why would he come to a place like this, alone in the middle of the night? Before he could figure it out, Yo Wenhui suddenly disappeared. Seeing this, Peng Dohuan immediately chased after him with all his strength. After a long pursuit, Peng Dohuan secretly followed Yo Wenhui to the top of a mountain. By then, Peng Dohuan was already exhausted and breathing heavily. He could not understand how a simple scholar could possess such terrifying speed. Standing at the peak, Yo Wenhui closed his eyes, as if gathering some kind of power. Then, the sword in his hand began releasing a brilliant golden light. A powerful shockwave spread across the area, forcing Peng Dohuan to shut his eyes. Once the energy reached its peak, Yo Wenhui casually swung his sword toward the sky. The next moment, the dark clouds covering the sky were suddenly split apart by a bright crack. Pure moonlight from beyond the clouds poured through the opening. Witnessing this scene, Peng Dohuan completely lost his strength and collapsed onto the ground. The next day, Yo Wenhui continued training the White Wolf squad as usual. Suddenly, Peng Dohuan appeared before him. Commander, you were the one who defeated the extremely evil smiling demon, weren't you? I knew something was wrong. Even if they suffered serious injuries, there was no way they could have defeated that monster. Yo Won-hui replied, "Isn't your evaluation of the White Wolf Squad a little too one-sided?" "No. I spent many years with them during my childhood, so I know their true abilities." Peng Dohuan explained. "That is why I want to ask you. What do you plan to do from now on?" Yo Won-hui paused for a moment. "That is a difficult question," he admitted. "But if I must answer, I will protect the family I treasure, the people who matter in this place, and every member of the White Wolf Squad. I will never show mercy to anyone who threatens them." After hearing his answer, Peng Dohuan looked at Yo Won-hui with deep admiration. Then he stepped forward and kneeled on one knee. "I, Peng Dohuan, will devote the rest of my life to you from this day forward. So please allow me to remain by your side, Commander." After completing the White Wolf Squad's physical training, the next step was swordsmanship training. During this period, many people secretly came to watch them train, because they couldn't believe that the White Wolf Squad, the team that defeated the Smiling Demon, would actually follow the guidance of a scholar. At that moment, Yo Won-hui felt deeply emotional. He never expected that the Red Wolf Squad, who once wandered through the martial world in his previous life, would now gather obediently by his side. "In this life, I will make sure they will never suffer the same tragic ending as before," Yo Won-hui thought to himself. Therefore, Yo Won-hui wanted to confirm something next. After the training ended, Yo Won-hui told everyone to rest for 2 days. However, the members of the White Wolf Squad were clearly dissatisfied with this decision. Even after Yo Won-hui repeatedly explained the importance of balancing training and recovery, they still insisted on continuing. But Yo Won-hui had his own reasons for doing this. He could already tell that their bodies had reached their absolute limits. If they continued forcing themselves, their bodies would collapse. Right now, what they needed most was recovery. At that moment, Gu Tae-san told Yo Won-hui, "There is a girl waiting at the entrance. Didn't you come here alone today?" It turned out that his daughter had been asking to come with him to the training grounds. But to avoid disturbing the squad's training, Yo Won-hui asked her to wait outside. When the White Wolf Squad members learned that the adorable girl was Yo Won-hui's daughter, they were instantly captivated by her innocence. Seeing the exhausted warriors covered in sweat, the girl kindly handed them towels. Her sweet and thoughtful behavior caused Gu Tae-san to develop a strong desire to protect her. Just then, Yo Won-hui's brother-in-law arrived at the training grounds. "I heard everyone has been training extremely hard. Recently, people in the streets have been saying that the White Wolf Squad represents the greatest strength of the Pen Clan. Young master, you praise us too much. We still have a long way to go before reaching true greatness." Then Peng Se-jin's gaze turned toward Yo Won-hui. "Brother-in-law, I actually came here today because I have something to ask of you. Let's talk somewhere privately." As soon as they entered the streets, the villagers warmly greeted Peng Se-jin. It was obvious that he was deeply respected by everyone here. The two eventually arrived at a pavilion to talk. "Brother-in-law, what was the place you lived in before like?" "My sister told me it was a beautiful place," Peng Se-jin asked. "It was a village called Sodam Village. The people there were all kind." Yo Won-hui replied, "Whenever I felt pressured, I would go there alone. Once, I saved them from bandits. But afterward, they blamed me instead, saying that if I only helped them once, the next attack would only become worse. So I told them I would take responsibility for protecting the village until the very end. At first, no one believed me. But eventually, the villagers changed their attitude toward me. If I had not returned alive back then, I would never have been able to fulfill that promise. I never had the chance to properly thank my savior or express my gratitude. Honestly, this is only my guess, but I feel like that person was you." Seeing Yo Won-hui remain silent, Peng Se-jin became even more certain. He then asked Yo Won-hui why he saved him back then. "The reason is actually simple. Because you are the first person who truly accepted me and treated me like family. When I first returned to the Peng clan, you welcomed me without hesitation." Peng Se-jin smiled. "However, if you continue hiding your true strength, you will only face more trouble in the future," he advised. "Instead, trust the Peng clan and reveal your true power. We will fully support you. Besides, we are already family. I want to stand beside you and fight together." A few days later, inside the Peng clan, recently, a rumor had spread throughout the clan that some unwanted guests were about to arrive. "I can't believe we have to treat these troublemakers as guests. I thought the clan leader would never allow them to step through the gates of the Peng clan." A clan member grumbled. "Clan leader, are you really planning to welcome them?" a subordinate asked. "What? Do you disagree with my decision? Manhwa gang questioned. Don't you know about their past actions? They are the Saramdan organization of the Miram Alliance. The subordinate warned. They are elite members trained by the Miram Alliance, originally created to fight against the Black Gate established by cult forces. They claim this is their final training, traveling to different families to seek guidance. But wherever they go, they leave behind nothing but malicious rumors, another added. I heard they even insulted a clan leader and broke both arms of that leader's son. Even powerful families like the Tang clan and the Namgung families suffered from their harassment. Not to mention smaller clans. Shouldn't we just refuse them? The subordinate suggested. No, we will welcome them as planned, the clan leader replied. I have already made a promise. No matter who these guests are, I will receive them personally. Besides, rejecting them would only create more trouble. And besides, I want to see what kind of chaos these people will cause inside the Peng clan. Afterwards, the Peng clan sent people to welcome the arriving guests. They were the Sarimdan organization from the Miram Alliance. I heard the Peng clan is the strongest family in Hebei. This might actually be more interesting than those unknown clans, one Sarimdan member said. However, I don't like their young master. His martial skills are mediocre, and his fashion sense is terrible, another mocked. From what I know, the Peng clan once defeated an extremely evil demon. Really? I think that's just a rumor they created themselves. At that moment, Captain Zhou Min warned everyone, do not underestimate them. There may actually be someone here who can guide us. Just then, the members of Saramdan suddenly looked toward the side. In the distance, a young girl was playfully kicking a shuttlecock. Her adorable movements immediately attracted everyone's attention. The guide welcoming them explained, that is the clan leader's granddaughter. Interesting. Can we go meet her? A member asked with a smirk. Wait, the clan leader is still waiting for you. You should go there first, the guide nervously interrupted. Before he could finish speaking, a slap landed across the face of the guide. The Sarimdan organization of the Miram Alliance has come to visit the Peng clan's granddaughter. And a mere servant dares to block our way? The member smeared. Why are you so afraid of us? You must have heard the rumors about us, haven't you? Just then, a shuttlecock flew directly into his face. Immediately afterward, everyone else around him was hit as well. The only person who avoided the attack was the captain who had been leading them. It turned out that little So Yul hated seeing these people bully others, so she decided to drive away the bad guys herself. Seeing this, Young So Young became annoyed and rolled up her sleeves. She walked up to little So Yul and lightly flicked her forehead. You little brat should feel lucky. If you weren't so cute, I wouldn't let you off with just this. Since the day she was born, innocent little So Yul had never been punished by anyone. The pain on her forehead made her burst into tears. The next moment, Gu Tae-san appeared behind Young So Young and coldly questioned what she had just done. What kind of attitude is that, big guy? Is this how the Peng clan treats its guests? Young So Young asked. If you want to be treated as a guest, then you should first act like one. Gu Tae-san retorted. What exactly are you trying to do? From the looks of it, you're just an ordinary martial artist, she mocked. At that moment, the captain stepped forward and stopped the two of them. Everyone calm down. Don't let a small misunderstanding become something bigger. A small misunderstanding? Ochemu demanded. I am the vice commander of the White Wolf Squad. I need an explanation for your actions against a member of the Peng clan. So you are actually a member of the famous White Wolf Squad, Captain Zhou Min said. I will personally explain the misunderstanding later. But as martial artists, I have another way to solve this problem, he suggested. How about a friendly spar? We have traveled across many clans searching for worthy opponents. We heard the White Wolf Squad recently defeated a demon. Would you honor us with a match? Hearing this, the vice commander immediately realized it was likely a trap. However, looking at the Peng clan members who had been bullied, too, he confidently accepted the challenge. Meanwhile, inside the Peng clan leader's residence, Father, aren't you worried? Peng Sijin asked. Worried about what? They are nothing more than little worms, the clan leader smeared. No matter what they do, they cannot create any real trouble. Did you allow Saramdan to enter the Peng clan for another reason? His son questioned. Your observation skills are impressive, Peng Mokang praised. But this is not something you need to know yet. At that moment, a servant hurried into the room and reported what had happened. After hearing the report, the clan leader angrily slammed his hand onto the table. Those bastards. Not only did they bully our servants, they even dared to hurt my beloved granddaughter, he roared. I will make them pay. Just as the clan leader was about to leave, his son stopped him. Father, if you go now, the situation will only become worse. Peng Seijin reasoned. Let me handle this first. Damn it. The clan leader grumbled. Then report every movement to me immediately. For this spar, we should take turns. Both sides will send members out one by one. Ochemu declared. Gu Tae-san, you go first. Understood. Gu Tae-san replied. I will hold back appropriately. Who wants to challenge me first? Saringdan Organization. Gu Seido, please teach me. As soon as he finished speaking, Gu Seido charged forward with a wooden sword. However, the attack was easily blocked by Gu Tae-san. The next moment, Gu Tae-san countered with one movement and threw Gu Seido away. Strange. Is this guy really a bear? Gu Seido thought to himself. How can someone with such terrifying strength still move this fast? Get up. Don't lie there like a dog, Captain Jomin scolded. Fight with the mindset that your defeat means the failure of the entire alliance. Do not become a burden to those who raised you. Understood, Captain. Gu Seido picked up his wooden sword and stood once again. The next moment, he exploded forward with incredible speed and charged toward Gu Tae-san again. However, this time was completely different. A strange blood-red aura suddenly gathered around Gu Seido's wooden sword. Seeing this, Gu Tae-san immediately sensed a hint of danger. The next moment, Gu Seido's attack shot forward without hesitation, aiming directly at Gu Tae-san's neck. Gu Tae-san had no time to react. The sword struck his neck, and blood instantly burst out. What was supposed to be an ordinary sparring match suddenly turned into a scene of bloodshed. No one expected Saramdan's member to completely ignore the rules and attack a vital point. Seeing this, Vice Commander Ochemu immediately rushed forward and pressed his hand against Gu Tae-san's bleeding wound. Yet, instead of showing guilt, the members of Saramdan shamelessly claimed that such things were normal. Even their captain's apology sounded completely insincere. I'm deeply sorry for what happened, Captain Jomin said. But this is not a fatal injury. There is no need to make such a big deal out of it, he added. Besides, an injury like this will not be enough to end his martial career. Now, let's continue. Even if you refuse today, we will return to the Peng clan in the future. Facing their unreasonable attitude, Ochemu had no choice but to agree and continue the spar. At that moment, Yo Wunhui arrived after hearing the commotion. He walked towards Saramdan's captain and revealed his identity as the commander of the White Wolf squad. This kind of match is starting to become rather boring. How about fighting me instead? Yo Wunhui suggested. But let me make one thing clear. I have only recently started learning martial arts. Among everyone here, I am probably the weakest, he stated. Hearing that they could humiliate the commander of the White Wolf squad, the Saramdan members immediately accepted. The first person to fight Yo Wunhui was Gu Seido, the one who had injured Gu Tae-san. The moment the match began, Gu Seido exploded forward at incredible speed and rushed toward him with his sword drawn. Facing the incoming attack, Yo Wunhui simply stood there calmly. The next moment, he casually swung his wooden sword. Without using any special technique, he sent Gu Seido flying instantly. Everything happened so quickly that no one present could understand what had just happened. Yo Wunhui only looked at them calmly. Next, only at this moment did the Saramdan captain realize that he had completely underestimated his opponent from the beginning. The so-called scholar commander of the White Wolf squad possessed strength far beyond their expectations. One after another, the remaining Saramdan members were defeated by Yo Wunhui. From start to finish, he never even needed a second move. Soon, the only person left standing was Saramdan's captain, Jomin. At that moment, Gu Seido approached Jomin and warned him, Captain, you need to be careful. The techniques he uses are extremely strange, he whispered. However, in Jomin's eyes, no matter how strong this White Wolf squad commander was, the result would not change. After all, he was a genius among geniuses personally trained by the Morim Alliance. Jomin stepped forward confidently and declared, My sword is extremely sharp. You'd better prepare yourself. Yo Wunhui had seen countless arrogant people like this before, so he did not take the warning seriously. Seeing that Yo Wunhui still showed no sign of seriousness, Jomin's anger continued to rise. The next moment he released his powerful inner energy. Feeling that aura, Ochemu was immediately shocked. That is the eightfold echo sword created by the Sword Emperor, one of the 12 venerables. I can't believe someone this young has already inherited such a supreme martial art, Ochemu exclaimed in shock. It seems even the commander will have to take this battle seriously, he thought. With that, Jo-min rushed forward with a wooden sword wrapped in blue inner energy. Yet, against an attack of this level, Yo Won-hui blocked it effortlessly with only one hand. His movements were so casual that it looked as if he could do the same even with his eyes closed. Seeing his attack dismissed so easily, Jo-min became furious. He immediately leaped into the air. Meteor falling sword. The next moment, a terrifying sword force descended toward Yo Won-hui like a falling meteor. However, Yo Won-hui still chose to block it with his wooden sword. Astonishingly, the moment the attack touched the wooden sword, Jo-min's powerful strike completely collapsed. This scene was something Jo-min never expected. Any ordinary martial artist facing such power would have already fallen to their knees. Yet, Jo-min refused to surrender and prepared another attack. But Yo Won-hui gave him no chance. Before Jo-min could move, Yo Won-hui had already appeared behind him. "I think I've played enough," Yo Won-hui said coldly. "It's time to end this." In Jo-min's eyes, Yo Won-hui's figure suddenly appeared overwhelmingly enormous. The terrifying pressure froze him in place. When Yo Won-hui's wooden sword slowly descended, Jo-min's mind imagined himself being cut in half by that single strike. But in reality, the wooden sword stopped right in front of him without actually making contact. Unable to withstand the overwhelming fear, Jo-min's eyes rolled back and he collapsed unconscious. He was so terrified that he even wet his pants. The White Wolf squad behind him immediately erupted into thunderous cheers. Seeing their usually arrogant captain reduced to such a miserable state, the members of Saramdan were all left with expressions of disbelief. At that moment, Peng Seijin stepped forward and congratulated Yo Won-hui for defeating them. "The reputation of the White Wolf squad will definitely rise even higher now," Peng Seijin said. "I will report the situation to the Murim Alliance exactly as it happened. Don't worry, brother-in-law. I won't reveal your true strength. It's fine. You don't need to hide this matter intentionally," Yo Won-hui replied. "However, there is something else I need to tell you privately." Meanwhile, after returning to his room in humiliation, Jo-min began smashing everything around him. He simply could not accept such a disgraceful defeat. At this moment, he wanted nothing more than to leave the place that had destroyed his pride. One of his team members tried to comfort him. "Captain, perhaps we should rest here for one day. We have traveled a long distance, and everyone needs time to recover." However, those words immediately crossed Jo-min's limit. He turned around and punched the speaking member to the ground. "I will not allow any of you to question my decisions," Jo-min roared. "If there is a next time, I will kill you myself." That night, the Saramdan group finally left the Peng clan. However, every one of their movements had already been noticed by Yo Won-hui. He wanted to see whether they would act the same way as they did in his previous life. After traveling for some time, they arrived deep inside a dense forest. Jo-min still could not understand what had happened. This was the first time in his life he had felt such overwhelming killing intent. Although it lasted only for a brief moment, the pressure of death contained within it made him truly experience fear. Thinking about it, Jo-min's tightly clenched fists began trembling. Yet he continued comforting himself. "It's fine, I've already left that place," he thought. "I won't meet that monster again. My future is still bright as a genius." Suddenly, several stones shot out from the distance. Jo-min immediately sensed danger and ordered everyone to hold their breath. These were not ordinary weapons, but bombs capable of releasing deadly poison gas. Soon, after the poisonous mist disappeared, 3 elderly figures wearing strange clothes appeared before them. "So you are the members of Saramdan?" one of the elders asked. Looking at the strange emblem on their clothes, Jo-min immediately recognized them. They were the Black Death Squad of the demon cult. "I didn't expect your arrival to be much earlier than I predicted," Jo-min said. The Black Death Squad was the weapon the demon cult was most proud of. Furthermore, because of the poison bombs planted beforehand, they were unable to properly use their inner energy. After realizing that their opponents were members of the demon cult's Black Death Squad, one of the Saramdan members was overwhelmed with fear. Ignoring Jo-min's orders, he turned around and desperately ran away. However, the Black Death Squad, whose hands were stained with countless lives, had no intention of letting him escape. A single hidden dart flew through the air and ended his life instantly. "This is the elite trained by the Murim Alliance? Even a stray dog on the street would probably be more useful than you," a Black Death Squad member mocked. Watching this scene unfold, Jo-min desperately searched for a way to survive. But then, a thought he himself refused to accept slowly appeared in his mind. Jo-min stepped forward and asked the Black Death Squad what they wanted. "From this moment on, I will spare only one person," the leader declared. the one who reveals the Muram Alliance's secrets and becomes our spy. We will carve our mark into your body. From now on, you will have no choice but to obey us." Hearing such a demand, the remaining Saramdan members immediately refused. But Jo-min revealed a crazed expression. "I am the captain of Saramdan. I can provide far more value than ordinary members," he offered. Hearing this, Gu Seido grabbed Jo-min's arm in disbelief. "What are you talking about?" Jo-min simply pushed him away. "However, I have one condition," Jo-min added. "Remove these annoying people from my sight." The Black Death Squad leader couldn't help but laugh. "Even if you hadn't said that, I was already planning to do it." Seeing this, Yeon So-young attempted to strike first and kill the traitorous captain. But, against the true strength of the Black Death Squad, she had no chance of resisting. Within moments, the Black Death Squad killed 2 Saramdan members on the spot. Then the leader placed a claw-covered hand on Jo-min's head. "From today onward, if you fail to provide value to the Black Death Squad, your life will become our reward," the leader warned. "Understood. I will follow your orders and prove my choice was correct," Jo-min replied, trembling. The moment he finished speaking, blood suddenly exploded before Jo-min's eyes. In an instant, the bodies of the 3 Black Death Squad members were sliced apart. A cold flash of sword light followed, cutting their remains into pieces in midair. "Just as I expected. You still chose this path." Yo Won-hui sighed. "If you had protected your moral boundaries until the very end, perhaps your fate would have been completely different." "This isn't fair. I only wanted to survive," Jo-min choked out. In his previous life, Jo-min was known as the Young Master of Blood Flowers. After betraying the righteous faction, he joined the demon cult and committed countless crimes. Even so, Yo Won-hui still hoped that Jo-min would make a different choice in this life. But now, it was already too late. He had to pay the price for his decision. In the blink of an eye, the dagger thrown by Yo Won-hui reached Jo-min. Saramdan and the Black Death Squad perished together. Yo Won-hui explained. "That is the only truth the martial world will learn. Remember, with this outcome, Saramdan will become heroes in the eyes of the Orthodox Muram Alliance. If the truth is exposed, the reputation of the Muram Alliance will suffer greatly. Although I dislike allowing these people to carry such honor, I will do what is necessary. They are already dead. This is the best solution for now." However, Peng Se-jin was confused. How did Yo Won-hui know the Black Death Squad would ambush them there? And how could he accurately predict that Jo-min would eventually fall into darkness? After thinking about it, Peng Se-jin could only assume that Yo Won-hui had experienced something extraordinary in the past. Not long afterward, a demon cult subordinate reported the complete destruction of the Black Death Squad to an elder. The elder immediately became furious. "Such a simple mission ended in failure? You have brought shame to the entire demon cult," he roared. The next moment, the elder casually waved his hand. The subordinate reporting the news suddenly sensed something wrong. In an instant, his life force was drained away, leaving behind only a dried corpse. Looking at the corpse, the elder's expression became cold. "This outcome makes no sense. Who is the one interfering with my plans from the shadows?"